reflections. Screen flickers tales of crime and affection. Baristas mix caffeine with tales of deception. Lawyers joke and shadows plot their redemption. Case files like popcorn scatter on the floor. Jury's out in line, folks begging for more. Quirky loopholes twist through every door. Paparazzi flash for the courtroom encore. Legal Shenanigans Theater, baby, where justice laughs. Crime and humor dance, baby, a curious path. Grab your ticket, honey, let the gavel smash. In the flood of laughter, see the road splash. Scoundrels with a smile, defense on their lips.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a good weekend. Or, at least you've survived some of this weekend, and it will probably be okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Maybe.
Well, we hope. So, we are finally going to get to Tony Todt on the stand because, dear Lord, this man is insufferable, but he's even more insufferable in his own defense.
Oh, yes.
Kind of like Sarah Boone. And then next weekend, I will be letting Vielhammer listen to Sarah Boone's statement.
Oh, Lord. Oh, you mean at her sentencing?
Yes, her sentencing
Oh,
statement.
sweet Jesus. I heard that.
I have more cuss words to say.
Oh, yes. That was special.
Howdy, Jung. Yeah, I've never found a statement that I was like, can we increase to the death penalty?
Yeah, can put like a fast lane in, express lane.
It is near Florida, or it's in Florida. We need a Disney lightning lane pass, please.
Yeah, we're gonna take you up to Crash Mountain.
Oh my God, Crash Mountain. More like she's the sewage leak that is in Epcot, I think, right now.
I mean, yeah.
Thank you so much, Publicly Buzzed. But you guys, so this is Tony Todt. We are at his trial, and we are going to get a taste of him on the stand defending himself. So we'll start with his lawyer asking questions. His lawyer, whose wife obviously doesn't own an iron.
No.
Or he doesn't own an iron. I mean, either way.
Yeah.
And you will start to get a little bit of a sense that Tony is a bit full of himself.
Yeah, a little bit.
A whole lot. And this is no offense to any, physical therapist out there, but Tony Todt would be a physical therapist and not a medical doctor. But you wouldn't, to hear him tell it, he has all the medical training of all the things. So
yes, he is the PhD of all PhDs because he is pretty huge.
Douche.
Not the word I was going to go for, but we're only 4 minutes in.
Well, I mean, given that he probably hadn't seen it, I don't think that we could speculate on his dingular area.
I was talking about the overall persona, not the actual appendages.
Isn't it interesting that men I always imagine have small ones end up just becoming large ones?
It is. There may be something to that.
It's like the FAFO chart. There isn't, in fact, correlation.
like the hot to crazy chart.
True. As I was telling Vale backstage, I have annoyed myself with my level of female annoyingness today because I have yet to figure out what I want for breakfast. And
Which
I know,
is funny
it's
'cause
3
3.
o'clock. Yeah, but my body's like, I'm like, okay, waffles. Carbs early in the morning. We don't even, like, but we'd have to make them. And pancakes don't taste good when you have to make them.
I
Okay, fine,
mean,
we'll go to McDonald's. Okay, but then we have to drive in the car. Well, until you get a servant, what would you like, Mo? What? Then I'm like, well, you're being rather bitchy. I'm like, you're driving me nuts. Yes, this was an entire conversation I had playing both myself and my exasperated life partner who's just hungry.
I mean, I have conversations in my head all the time too. Not quite to that level all the time, but it has happened.
You'll get there someday, Dale. It's a talent, but you will.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get started, and possibly we will achieve this all in one stream. Now, I doubt it, since I just made a segue to tell you all how I haven't figured out what I want to eat today. So, hope springs eternal.
Yeah.
Judge. Okay. I was under the impression that closing arguments were done and you were going to question the defendant from the podium. Is that correct?
That closing argument, opening statement.
Excuse me, did I say it closing? Opening statements are concluded, and so you can question from this podium, and we'll bring Mr. Todt up when the jury returns, swear him in.
The judge legitimately said Toad.
I mean, if anybody else remembers like the 1990 or 1980 whatever Super Mario Brothers movie, he kind of resembles Toad, like Bowser.
Does.
He does kind of resemble that.
John Leguizamo made a pretty good Luigi.
I mean, he did, yeah, to be fair.
He did. And you couldn't even tell that Mario was a British actor. So, I mean, it was all good.
Was it 93? Jesus. I'm old.
I feel, well, not as young now as well either. Because I was like, I wouldn't. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Next, we'll be talking about our twin dragon. Or was it twin dragons or double dragons?
Double dragon.
Double dragons with Brandon Lee and the guy who sang for Aladdin.
Yes. Yes. And I think he went on to, I think that guy, if I'm remembering, I think he went on to do like one of my favorite movies, Only the Strong. If I'm thinking of the same guy.
I didn't watch Only the Strong.
It's where I learned about capoeira.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's teaching it was Gangsta's Paradise
movie.
before Gangsta's Paradise.
Oh yeah, he went to the kids. He was
dance.
teaching kids how to dance box. Yeah. It was before Tybo. Otherwise, he would have taught him that.
Yeah, with Billy Blanks.
All right, let's see if we can get. And yes, now I don't know why Tony decides to pick a chin position that makes it look as though he is smelling some dog dew.
All you need is to put some googly eyes in the back of that head and that big old lip at the bottom there.
Okay. See, this is how you know you've met your people, because we're not going to be serious. If you were waiting for this to turn into the, well, according to the Reed technique or based on his body language, no. No, it's never going to be that.
We might talk about body language.
This case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, ma'am. Please, thank you.
Okay. We can't get rid of the annoying back sound, but we can have a microphone protection. Sure. Okay. Let's go. I forgot how bad this audio was. I would have told you or asked you to fix it, not told you. I don't command
Please
you.
identify yourself.
My name is Anthony John Todt.
What is your age?
46.
Mr.
He
Todt,
did all that counting
we've
without
heard
his,
testimony
his
about
feet
a
out.
woman named Megan Todt. Are you familiar with that person?
Yes.
And were you in fact married to Megan Todt?
Yes.
When did you first meet her?
It was high school of 1992
And where was that?
in Montville, Connecticut. Sorry. Montville, Connecticut. Montville.
And did you and Ms. Todt, did you and Megan, we've used first names throughout the case, so I'll do it to that. Make it hard to remember. Did you become married or become a couple?
Yes.
Now, did you attend the university?
Thank you, Les.
In the state of Connecticut?
Yes.
And where did you go to school?
Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Did Megan also become a student at Sacred Heart?
Yes, she was 2 years behind me.
What was your course of study?
Okay, he's already annoyed me. His speaking is so oddly abrupt.
Yeah.
And that might be a New England thing, but he's also annoying as a human being, so I take that down a point.
Yeah, but at least he's not talking about leaving his cockies in his cockies. I mean,
It
at
would
least
be
he's
more
not talking like
endearing
that.
if he did that. And just exclusively talked about crabs.
It's the one accent, like the Massachusetts Bostonian accent is the one that just drives me absolutely crazy. I know some people find it endearing. I think it's like, just learn how to speak. And I can understand like the alligator dudes from Louisiana.
A Mr. Mo fund or a swear jar, whatever happens first, I'm here for it. Well, Mr. Mo is taking the feral boy children to Walmart because apparently we're out of ketchup. Yep. Oh, and I learned, just for your edification, that so this was an actual conversation that was had in my drive to Sam's Club.
Okay.
My youngest, most feral son asked me, "Okay, how is Antarctica related to the rest of the continents?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Okay, who is Antarctica related to?" And I was like, "I don't know. Why are you asking me this? I can't even. Why?"
Where's Uncle Arctica?
Yeah. I was like, Mr. Mo, you take this one. I'm going to be reading my book.
Cousin Arctica. And for some reason, I understood exactly what he meant.
Which is funny because after at the second time he said it, I was like, "Oh, you mean ant?" No, it just means not Antarctica. I don't know. It just means we are in traffic trying to drive down the freeway. Okay, that's what it means.
Yeah. And yes, this case was horrible, Jane.
It was.
We do try to take some levity and pick people like Tony Todt and Sarah Boone, Daryl Brooks, people who are very full of themselves, who would be displeased by people kind of laughing at their expense. Obviously, the situation and what actually occurred is horrific. And we'd never make jokes about the victims themselves. It's always the perpetrators that we make fun of.
Yes.
So,
And
just a
you
heads
guys
up.
have noticed correctly that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man has deflated just a little bit. And Barnacle Bob, that's what I'm going to tell him when he asks how they came up with the name.
That's not a bad reason, actually. Logic.
I know.
I'm here for
All
it.
right, sir. Back to the grind. Let's get back to Tony telling us how he got it.
Undergraduate work, a major in psychology with a concentration in health psychology, with a declared minor of pre-physical therapy, and then I finished my master's degree of science in physical therapy.
Right. Now, did your wife, when did you marry Megan? Was that in college or later?
I had graduated from college already, and she was in her second to last year of college.
Megan, you
field
should have
did she
tried to
study?
date.
She had the exact same credentials as myself, physical therapy.
Did you practice in the field of physical therapy?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with medical terms and medical procedures?
Most definitely, sir.
How long did you practice as a physical therapist?
I received my license in August of 1999 and was practicing up until the current.
Okay, this is also a weird juxtaposition. So he didn't start doing this until we started talking about his medical stuff. And I don't know about you, but if I'm a juror on that, I'm going to want to pretend that, you know, Tony is just looking down his nose at his lawyer, not me. So I don't want him facing me.
Yeah. It is a very, it's weird, like, it's weird when people do this because it seems so out of place. The first time I remember seeing how visibly shocking it was to have somebody do that was, what's his face? From the Rittenhouse. The guy who
Oh,
was like
yeah.
suing and then was like, he confessed.
Grace Croots.
Yeah, whatever his name
Grace
is. I know he changed it.
Finkelbutt. I don't know.
Gateshwitz or something. Whatever
The
his
guy
name is.
was like, that ruined my case.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yes.
And he had that look on his face where it's like, I know, I just screwed up.
He was like, I
Gatewitz.
mean, no.
Yeah. That was the first time I remember somebody doing it where it was so bizarre.
Well, yeah, and I guess I expect it most of the time from experts, but they don't do it. I think people that aren't used to doing it make it a real clear, like, half turn,
Yeah.
whereas most experts just sort of tilt their heads.
Yeah, like somebody who did it really well. Because some people, like some experts, seem like they're nervous for some reason. I don't understand that. But the one who I think like should be the person to look to was what everybody referred to as Dr. Mommy in the
Oh, well, yeah,
Depp case.
but that's because she was also hot, okay?
But she didn't
lie.
look down at people either. Like when she talked to
True.
the jury, she just kind of looked at them like, you know, she was having a conversation with them. She didn't look down upon them or anything like that. She just talked to them like they were regular people.
That is true. Talking to people like they're normal people? Who
Yeah.
knows?
It's a novel idea.
Yes. But you're going to notice, and I can't remember exactly where, but once he starts testifying for a lot of Megan's medical issues, the state is going to object because he doesn't have medical expertise. And we're going to get to a point where Mr. Todt's going to maybe drop the mask a little bit. Want to go Rick James on a state prosecutor, if you will?
That was the Kim Potter case in Minnesota where everybody called her judge. That was the first Judge Mommy before we got to Brooks's judge. That was the Kim Potter case.
Yeah, I can't remember, but she had the voice like Liquid Ambien.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but she was terrible.
She was
Remember
awful.
that.
All right. Well, let's continue with Tony. Todt on the spot.
Was Megan also involved in the practice with you?
In the practice of physical therapy, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Whereas I did more hospitalist, nursing care, home care, and outpatient, she concentrated most of her time as a pediatric specialist and did work sometime in nursing homes when we traveled.
Yeah, Lesko, I don't understand where any of my stuff
What were
is
the
supposed to be
circumstances
anymore.
that brought your family to Celebration?
Initially, my wife and I bought the
Yes.
condo in Celebration in July of 2005 when we were traveling physical therapists, which means they put us around the country either to cover for what they call snowbird season or people got on maternity leave. They were generally minimum of 13-week.
Okay. All right, sir. I remember why I hate his testimony, because he swings and he gives you freaking like motion sickness, but also Not everything requires you to pontificate, you bloviating butthole. Like,
Yes.
well, generally a minimum of 13 weeks, and have you heard of this thing called snowbird season?
Yeah.
It's fucking Florida, dude.
Well, and he's getting ready to say something that's actually extremely condescending and not appropriate, about like trying to sound like a normal dude about why they had a condo in Florida is because why wouldn't you let your employer pay for it? And it's like, this may not be the time to be bringing that up.
Yeah, this may not be the time to tell them that you also like to cheat your employer.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, especially considering like all the, I can't recall, did they actually bring up the insurance fraud stuff in this?
I don't believe they were allowed
I
to
don't
bring
think
it up
they
in
did,
the
yeah.
trial because of the prejudice. So
Yeah.
you basically had testimony of these federal agents being the one to enter the house, but the jury never knew why the
Why, yeah.
agents were there.
Yeah,
So
like
it was
you
kind
did
of
some,
odd.
you did something if the feds are showing up at your door.
Look,
I
they were
mean-
the friendly feds. They were out, walking their swamp puppy, and they happened to smell something weird, and they were like, "Not our friend Tony." Let's go. Can I undo this somehow? This was absolutely brutal. I'm already singing my
Singeing your peanut sack? That sounds...
Can you undo the update to the iPhone? I don't think so.
No.
And I would be the worst to figure out how to do that for you. Have you met me?
I don't, unless you like factory reset it, that's the only way, but then like, you would have to...
Wouldn't it automatically update with the newest updatey thingamabob?
Not always. I mean, I have an older iPhone because I don't really use it, so but yeah, I don't know, like you might actually be able to do it through, like, depending on what kind of computer you have, you might be able to do it through iTunes by selecting a specific one, but yeah.
Okay,
This is
let's
Tech Talk
continue.
Corner.
This has been Talk with Mo. Pray for yourself and your devices if you take any of my advice.
Assignments, and they could be extended. We first went out to California, wonderful time. Then we came down to Florida and found that since we sold our initial condo in Connecticut, we didn't have any deductions. So we bought the condo in celebration as a partial investment and partially primary home, because part of our contract with our traveling company is they paid for our residence. So at the current time, they're paying for a rental. Why have the company pay for a rental when they can pay for your actual house and help with your mortgage payments? So we bought the condo in July 2005. Would you like me to continue?
Well, let me ask one thing at this point. What was the status of Megan's health when you first met her?
When I first met Megan, sorry, I just needed to collect myself. Megan,
Emotions don't work like that, sir. And now I understand that you're just trying on this human suit for the very first time. But you don't collect yourself by going,
Yeah.
that was like my first crunch I did yesterday. Now, what was I saying?
It's like the police chief in Bad Boys. Woo-saw, woo-saw, as he's rubbing his ears.
It's just, I mean, look, even Daryl took God's time, like years. Like, sorry, that was an emotional moment. I had to collect myself. I am sorry. I apologize for taking the court's time. I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't stop him from saying whatever dumbass thing he had next, but he did realize that pretending to look like you were crying should take more than 1 second to recover from.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Daryl Brooks did a better cry job than Amber Heard and Tony Todt. And
Oh
Amber's
my God.
allegedly an actress.
Amber is allegedly an actress. I still need to find whichever one of her personal stylists was like, would you like Ava Braun or Evita Perón? Or Miss Trunchbull from Matilda. I mean, if we're going with evil women.
Yeah. It's like they couldn't have slipped in a Cruella de Vil.
I know. We just, a Maleficent. Like, she should have just come as all of Disney's villains.
They should have did Cruella de Vil on the day she talked about her dog getting stung by a bee. Perfect.
Oh my God. That would have been hilarious.
Megan had initially been diagnosed as a teen with Lyme disease, in which was, they say Lyme disease goes into remission, they say Lyme disease goes into just recesses and waits another day to invade, all depending on your immune system, all depending on what research shows and who you follow. She also was diagnosed right around middle school, right before I met her, with a heart issue. This heart issue they diagnosed as mitral valve prolapse and a murmur. They also diagnosed arrhythmias, at which time I found out after I started dating Megan in high school, because I asked her one time, we used to go out to dinner all the time, we used to, normal dating.
Normal high school dates where you talk about your arrhythmias, your prolapsed, mitochondrial DNA, whatever just happens to be on the tip of the tongue for, fellow young people.
Yeah. It's like, I thought he was going to say something about, like, she was diagnosed with having a leech of a boyfriend or something like that.
Well, I was trying to say lapsed mitral valve, but then it went into mitochondrial DNA. So,
Well, at least it wasn't the other prolapse that usually occurs with that word.
Well, that was a thought, but then I thought we're still only 27 minutes in. Figure I'd keep that other prolapse in the back for a closer.
Literally keep it
Figured-
in the back.
Well, it's, true comedy rhymes with anatomy. I'm the George Lucas of, anatomical insults. I love how this pause just makes him look like he's actually really thinking instead of listening to whatever circus music is going on in his head.
All we need is the little praying hands in front of him, and he's look into the heavens.
But we have to go back real quick because the state is about ready to object for the first time. And let's see how Tony uses his acting abilities.
Yes.
Greatly established in community theater and The Mirror.
Yes. Watch very closely, because it only gets better from here.
Alrighty.
Because I asked her one time, we used to go out to dinner all the time, we used to, normal dating.
Ask your next question, Mr. West.
I'll try and ask you more.
Ooh. Well, that would have been just a hair bitchier than anything on the Golden Girls. He hit it so well.
Yes. That look. It gets worse. This one actually
this
wasn't
was
that
him
bad.
doing subtle.
Yeah. It gets worse.
It does. Tony's not doing a very good job keeping, respectful.
He has he definitely has resting bitch face. I mean,
He does.
100%.
But he doesn't have the fashion sense to pull off catty.
Yeah, he just doesn't.
I mean, sir, Elton John glasses at least if you're going to try to pull off bitchy and queenie and, sassy.
Yeah.
It gets better, you guys.
Yeah.
Questions that have a shorter answer.
I apologize, sir.
Was, and then And when you married Megan, what was the status of her health generally?
Generally, she was healthy. She avoided caffeine and she avoided sugars because of the heart issue previously mentioned.
And then, did there come a time when Megan began to have health problems?
Yeah.
And about when was the onset of that?
March 2011.
And
Oh, he almost got it. He almost got a tear, but he blinked it back. So brave. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I know who he reminds me of. Lord
Okay.
Farquaad. Because I could just imagine him, and I know there will be many losses, but that's a price I'm willing for you to pay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just... It's like at that moment where he starts to like hold back the tears. Like all I can, for some stupid reason in my head, is I can hear Kiss from a Rose playing in my head. I don't know why. But like that's all I can think of.
Oh, and I was thinking about, now it might not be as big as that, but if you parents out there have seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too, where the security guard guy says, "You tear, you get back in there," and the little tear crawls back up into his face. Oh, Lord Tartwad, I saw you.
what are the conditions that she experienced?
We were
She
vacationing.
was still married to me.
Apologize. We were vacationing in Florida. And we were at a theme park. And she got bit by a bug. She described this bug as a 6-legged black bug with a red mark on the back that reminded her of the state of Texas. I didn't see the bug.
If you are thinking that this sounds like shit that never happened for 8,000, Alex, you would be correct. Because this is not how one gets Lyme disease, mostly because she already had Lyme disease.
Yeah.
But apparently her downward health trajectory all started with this mystery bug. I mean, well, a Texas bug in Florida. I have no idea.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Those eyebrows, sir. Like, no one is buying the, 80-legged, million-foot long centipede story, okay? Even if you raise your eyebrows beyond where Nancy Pelosi has her tacked up to,
Yeah.
no one's buying it.
It's yeah. If I mean, if you look up things about ticks and stuff, I have not found one that has a red mark on its back as he describes, nor the next part that he's going to describe. But yeah,
Yes. But sure, this is exactly how it happened, y'all.
yes.
It was at the end of the day, and this bug bite, which you would think was innocuous, turned into this yellow, green, I can't even describe, pustule. It was a gigantic whitehead. So we went home that
Zit.
night. I went home to the hotel.
You're on mute. You're still on mute.
I call it incredible, not innocuous, mostly because I don't credit it with happening.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a special boy.
Also, so this, like, escapee from the mutant gremlin, weird bug thing, and it was showing obvious sign of not only infection but inflammation, and you're like, we'll just go home to the hotel.
Yeah.
Now, something that is obviously causing her pain, she already has a lowered... So if you do actually have Lyme disease, you have a lowered immune response. Something like an actual bug bite in a warm, wet environment like Florida that was showing pretty bad signs of either infection or, you know, at least some sort of body reaction, they're going to go back to the hotel room because you really want to get waffles with Goofy.
Yeah. It doesn't make
Okay.
sense. Yeah. And no, he just has the Bart Simpson. That's what it's called.
Or it was a hotel at the time, because of the issue.
And about what, that was in
How
2011,
he
you
does
say?
that.
March 2011, sir.
And then in the ensuing year, did Megan develop any other health complications?
Oh, yeah. Through many
Through the night. What were we trying to start with our choir? Like, I'll be there for you. Like, were we going to go Boys to Men?
And it's like, oh, what a night. Late December back in 63.
60. Yeah. I was like, were we... Oh, just no pause is ever a good pause for Tony.
It's not.
Oh, good Lord.
trips to the hospital, many trips to the ER, cardiac critical care units. She was diagnosed with a multitude of diagnoses, I guess you want to say. First of which
That's
was,
generally what they're called.
they found that she had drug-induced hepatitis. Sorry, first, I apologize, let me back up. They diagnosed her with tonsillar cellulitis. She had these gigantic
Tonsillar cellulitis. So she looked like she had thrush.
Or tonsillitis. As someone who had chronic tonsillitis when I was a teenager, who no longer has his
So-
tonsils, I know.
Yeah, it's almost like she just had normal stuff that goes with kind of having a compromised immune system.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying any of that stuff is fun to deal with, but yeah, it sounds like these are things that he's making sound much worse than they actually were.
Yeah. They were gigantic,
Gigantic.
though.
white pustules on her tonsils. Her lymph node was just totally enlarged, in trouble breathing. In subsequent visits to the ER, subsequent visits to the doctors, they found that she acquired, through the medical aspect, what's called drug-induced hepatitis. So her liver became inflamed.
Oh, not like, rock star induced hepatitis. It's like, look, it's not Trump stop hepatitis, okay?
Yeah. I mean, it was intravenous, just not that kind.
It's not like she partied with Brian May
Yeah. or
Mick Jagger.
P. Diddy.
Yeah, well,
Very much so that it was malfunctioning, to put it lightly. Her eyes were, at one point, the color of the most fluorescent yellow highlighter you ever seen in your life. I swear her eyes could.
well, she had been looking at you. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor,
So,
but
sir, was she turning into a werewolf?
yes, that's exactly
seen
what
this movie.
happened. I mean, wait a minute. Did the vampires also have yellow eyes, or was it just glitter that they looked like for Twilight?
Oh, it was glitter.
Sounds like she's coming down with an unfortunate case of a bad marriage. I still recommend divorce, but if she wanted to party her way out, no shame. Let's go. Unfortunately, she could have dumped the turd, but he dumped her first, sadly.
Yeah.
And she loved him, which sucks. Again, here's the sucky thing is that Megan had this sniveling turd that fat giant turd that he was before had come to her and said, I've been doing the Medicare fraud. We've lost everything, and we're going to have to rebuild. Betcha that Megan would roll her sleeves up, start working back, as a physical therapist, regardless of her Lyme disease, and, swallowed her pride, moved in with family, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. She definitely seemed like that type. That she'd probably be disappointed and mad, but she would get on with it.
Yep. I can't believe it was a thing either. And then we fell for Divergent and Hunger Games. You think we'd have learned with Sparkly Vampires? You think we would have all said, no more youth, young adult novels ever again?
Yeah. And I blame my generation, the younger part of my generation, for that. You're not welcome. And
Yes.
I don't like most of you. Because of that.
We now would like to give up our citizenship and go as a Gen Xer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Todt?
Oh,
Yes.
you almost hid that eye roll as much as my kids do. Oh, sweetheart, you want to know what I tell them? There will only be one bitch in this house that gets to roll her eyes. And unless you're planning on paying taxes, that's going to be me. I mean, or something more kid friendly, but generally it comes out like that.
I can see that going through your head when that happens.
But yeah, you can't tell he's being a snotty cat right now.
Mm-hmm. Look at that look on his face.
He hides it so well.
Yeah.
Did there come a time then at that occasion when she had the hepatitis that it affected her lifestyle or what she could do?
Most definitely. My wife, she was a yoga teacher in addition to physical therapist. She went
I often start crying when I think of yoga too.
Especially hot yoga.
Yes, especially Tony doing hot yoga. Then everyone starts crying.
And yes, I
Also-
know a lot of people caught strays there.
And he, okay, sir, when the rest of us have normal feelings, we don't have to go like, and then they come. We generally don't get to make that cute little like stage left.
Oh god. They make that cute little face and then they come.
Well, I do make these single entendres all by myself, handcrafted by Mo.
Yep.
Let's get back and let's see him Shatner the hell out of this.
from a very strong, vibrant woman to barely holding on to 90 pounds. She couldn't keep weight on. She couldn't breathe. Her heart rate progressively was going crazy. At rest, it would be 190 or above.
there's a
EKGs, all
tear.
that kind of stuff, saw her throwing atrial fibrillations, PVCs, which are, it's basically your heart operates in a synchronous motion, okay?
We haven't got
Valves
there yet.
pump on rhythm. Her valves and her, sorry, not valves, her chambers were beating all irregular. It was basically, you take four wheels of a car,
Objection, Your Honor, lack of medical knowledge. And there
And emotion off.
And bitch said, "What? I like that, Tony. That was an interesting little turn you did."
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at that face. And I think this is the one of the infamous moments where you and I have talked about dreading, where he interrupts and says, "If you would ever like to know what it's like when a man wants to hit a woman, this is it."
I don't. It might be this one, but he definitely has no time, and
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I'm sorry. He could give you the modalities and the therapies that he would use on a patient with, you know, let's say heart failure and a knee injury, and what you could do with them and what would be contraindicated. What he cannot explain to a jury is how, atrial fibrillation happens, especially when he isn't a real damn doctor.
Yeah. Oh no, he's not a doctor, Mr. Bond. He's a physical therapist.
So I will say that a lot of states, because I had considered pursuing physical therapy, are moving their programs to a one that requires a doctorate to get licensing, or at least a master's, not a doctorate.
Yes.
But it is you still do not have the foundational other medical backgrounds to do that.
Yeah. And so nobody says I'm throwing shade. I'm not throwing shade at physical therapists and not
No.
being real doctors. It's just he is acting and talking like he is a doctor, and he is not. He is a physical therapist. Yes, I understand that you have to learn about the body in some ways and things like that, but he's not a doctor.
I'll have to look that up because I hadn't seen anything really come out about that. Shalom D. Wait until I say modalities and morbidities. I love that I'm listening to this, and in the background I'm hearing Mr. Mo threaten the boys to within an inch of their life if they don't just clean the kitchen without fighting with each other.
They should take some notes from Publicly Buzzed.
Yes.
Mr. Todt, what medical training have you received in conjunction with the physical therapy?
I appreciate you asking me that, sir. 20 years of medical.
Fuck you for asking that, lawyer. I don't want to hear this man pontificate like he has any sort of knowledge.
Yeah. And how aggressive he comes out with this. Like, he didn't say like, oh, I went to school and like, this is the things that I have. He's like, no, 20 years of medical. He like coming out like Alex Jones.
I was there in 1959 when we discovered morphine. Okay.
And black helicopters.
Seriously, like, he's beyond Shatner level. He is now at Calculon levels. He is at Zap Brannigan levels of just, I have 20 minutes. Yes, you have 20 years where you are adjacent to a medical field. Yes, in a pinch, you can probably understand what an AED reading looks like that's normal.
Yeah.
But do you have the actual expertise to understand what a long or a prolonged QT syndrome is? Or, what parts are malfunctioning beyond what is the standard sort of obvious? No, so shut the hell up, dingus.
Yeah.
Medical experience working in the hospital, case review charts, home care, meaning that not only
Yes.
was I operating under
Yes,
a
it
nurse
does.
or with a nurse individually at a house, I was also opening cases on my own, which means I received medical information, medical.
Physical therapy cases, you moldering butt monkey. Oh my gosh, that might be my favorite pause yet.
I mean, if he was opening cases in the way that he would like the jury to believe that he was opening cases, there would probably be some additional charges involved. For practicing
Yes.
medicine without a license.
Yes. And again, yes, as a physical therapist, if you are in charge of, being given a patient, you do look through their entire chart. You do ask them, about their medical history, what medications they're on, because that could change some things that you want to do. Like some people, they're not going to handle certain topical kind of modalities. So think ice or cold being two of the simple ones. Or you can go to ultrasound and iontophoresis for like some more
sorry.
interesting ones.
Bless you.
Iontophoresis. So basically, is a sort of machine that uses electrical charges to move medications deeper through the affected area than kind of applying it topically. Can you believe that my old office allowed me to play with both medications and electric stuff?
Wait, hold on. No, I think we have another one of those billion-dollar ideas. We are going to put Viagra and Cialis out of business. You said you could move it better with electricity? Hold on.
It's the stand-up Willie.
First, we have Clone a
for those
Willie.
days, for those times when you don't want it to be a question. Stand-up? Yes.
No.
Willie.
Erect Willie.
Imagine the poor husband's face when, he just gets an erector set because the wife didn't understand the note. He's like, fun for the both of us. And she's like, yeah, I was kind of wondering how the erector set would be fun for me. And he's like, because that wasn't the thing I sent you. Oh, let's get back to him because this face is terrifying.
He looks like he's going to kiss you.
It does. It's terrifying me. I'd rather him just be staring deeply into my soul.
Slap.
Records from the doctors and from the hospital themselves to be interpreted, to be reviewed, and to be deciphered so that I can properly give the appropriate care within their medical limits to the patient.
Thank you for that background. Now, as your wife continued with her health issues, what was her attitude or outlook or demeanor?
Her demeanor went from a very vibrant young woman in which literally we were best friends. As dating, we always knew we would remain best friends. That's how close we were. We dated for
Dating as best friends. And then as best friends, we decided that even if we weren't going to date, we were still going to be besties. And then we went to the Taylor Swift concert together.
And they both cried on their guitar.
Yeah, pretty much. We braided each other's hair. I mean, look, Mr. Mo's probably like a good friend of mine. He's, maybe my best friend. But I think if I had told everyone like he's my best friend and lover, I think we'd both be horrified, although I may have to try that look, I may or may not be going to church for the first time in a long time tomorrow with Mr. Mo. But Mr. Mo has this irritating, personality quirk in that he's an extrovert. And he is going to take me to the front of that damn church. And I may or may not use that there.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, it pretty
saying
much
it like
is
that.
turds.
Yeah. It's a terrible case. Like the actual facts of the case are terrible.
Yes.
What he did, but he's just a piece of work.
Yes. He's not so convincing because I mean, who wouldn't want to be best friends with that face?
Yeah, because he seems like such a fun person to be around.
Yes.
8 years before we were married. Her family was my family. Okay? Her grandparents were my grandparents. That's how close we were. Okay?
Wait a minute. I thought that they hailed from Connecticut, not Kentucky.
Yeah, that part I never understood. Maybe they were from Kentucky and they somehow ended up in Connecticut somehow. I don't know. I didn't understand that one.
I mean, I get it. You guys were best friends and their family loved you and you loved their family. It's just such a weird way to phrase it. And it's also, Of all the things that he gets emotional about, this is such a weirdly
Yeah.
put on thing because he'll hold it for a couple of phrases and then he's back to yes.
Yeah. It's just so strange. Like the shift in like fake emotion that he's trying to show, like the dramatic shift in between, like just like what 45 seconds ago he was pretending to cry, and now look at his
Yeah.
face, he's angry, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just so weird.
He is just, it's such a mercurial thing and it doesn't go with what he's saying.
Yeah.
She went from, even though she remained the light of my life, whenever she walked into a room, literally, after almost 20 years of marriage, my stomach would have those butterflies in it, seeing my wife. I existed, but
They'd have to be pterodactyls. We saw you at the in your confession. But then you also said that she'd lost her womanly curves, you troglodyte.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was like, that part was gross. But she's his best friend though, so it's okay that he talks about her like that.
well, I mean, first base, third base with your best friend, who cares?
Yeah, it's like that's just not okay.
Yeah.
she went from,
Ask the question again, Mr. Wilson.
Now, at that point in time,
He
did you
does
have
such a
children?
good job of pretending he's not pissed
at the
off.
time she got sick, sir?
Sorry?
At what point in time, sir?
When we're talking about this period in her life, when she had gone, when she was less vibrant or less,
Yeah.
her demeanor changed.
Before she got sick, we were blessed with 2 wonderful boys. Okay? She went from a mom who provided for everything, including myself. I consider myself a third kid, okay? To a person,
I also consider you the anchor between her neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the kissy face though.
Oh God.
who could barely walk the stairs on certain days. We hired, with the help and the assistance of our family, we hired I guess you want to say a mother's helper, okay? In which
Jen?
I was gonna say,
Or-
I've never heard the term mother's helper before. I've never heard that.
Well, I
until
mean,
this
I've heard
case.
of it, but I thought it was wine and, that's every Saturday, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. I mean,
Yeah, or like an electric adult toy. I mean, it's like I've never heard of what he is referring to. It's usually like a
yeah.
nanny.
a nanny or, a housekeeper, a house manager. I think that would help, but we're just not back in the 50s anymore, damn it. Uppers in the morning, downers at night. Wash it with a martini and a Virginia Slim. Everything's all right.
That's definitely a jingle that was on the radio in the
Our-
50s.
Our grandmas had the right idea. Except for making everything into a salad with Jell-O.
Oh God.
Why there was ever a lettuce and Jell-O lime salad? I don't know.
I watched something about that and somebody putting things in Jell-O, and it's just, I had to fast forward because it was just like making me nauseous. It's like who
olive loaf. Why? Why, God, why?
It's
No.
it's like, who puts tuna and peas in Jell-O?
I don't know, because
all.
that, even if you lived, okay, listen, grandma, because I did ask my grandma this question once, and she said, "Look, if you lived through the Depression, you knew that everything counted." I was like, "Yes, but the Depression didn't kill your taste buds." So who was sitting there during the Depression with one container of lime Jello, half a thing of wilted lettuce, and a couple handfuls of pecans? Who,
Yeah.
Grandma? Who?
Yeah, it's like just because you have things on hand, like I'd go hungry.
And thank you, Tim, for gifting a membership. And that went to Barnacle Bob. Congratulations. All right, let's listen to him talk about how his wife wilted into horrible, in need of a mother's helper, which I would have figured would just have been a good supportive bra, but who knew? Apparently it's a real person.
To come in, help bring the kids to school, which is something my wife.
What I'm going to ask you to do is to try and I'll try and correct you so that we don't have long extensions, so it's easier for everyone to understand what we're talking about.
I apologize, sir. It's been 2 years since I've been able to tell my story. I appreciate you working with you.
Oh, shut up, Sarah. I mean, Tony. It's been so long since I've been able to tell my truth.
Yeah, it's it does sound very reminiscent. And Daryl Brooks pulled this line too. It just, yeah.
Yes, Jung. He is the one who unalived his entire family, then lived with the corpses for, nearly 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you and Megan attended Sacred Heart, which was a Roman Catholic university, is that true?
That's the debate. It's Roman Catholic by name, but it was considered Jesuit run, which I don't know where the derivation between those two run.
But were you raised in the Catholic Church?
I was raised in the Roman Catholic Church and continue to practice as such, sir.
Do you know whether Megan was raised in the Roman Catholic Church?
Megan was raised in the Roman Catholic Church. However, before she went to college, her and her mother and father did shy away from it, but she did get confirmed before we got married.
Well, then my grandma would have loved her. Thank you, Squid Pro Quo, for $1.99. Thank you. Yes, we are entering the part of the testimony where Tony takes out a, bad touch doll and explains where on, the doll that the Eastern religion hurt him.
Yeah. And this part is just, yeah.
Thank you, Squaw Bob, for a gifted membership, and that went to Pokemom 0730. Excuse me. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate and sarcasm and whatever Cheerios you find in the back seat for the time being.
Yes.
Yes, so we have entered well, listen, I don't want to talk bad about other religions, but they don't even believe in Jesus. Can you believe it? Portion of the testimony.
Yes. And now we get Tony, the religious scholar.
Yes. He's part Jesuit himself. Other part golden retriever. Only not loyal. Apparently some dogs are just not loyal.
We're just not sure which parts.
Yes.
As you progressed as a family, did Megan seek other religious experiences?
Most definitely, sir.
And what was the reason for that?
That's how they get you. Yoga.
When she got sick, we were under the model of traditional med. That's where we were trained. Medicine helps. Progression of her disease process, we went more alternative, or she went more alternative, I should say, because we were told to stay away from medications. Alternatives were not working. Through her yoga practice and her yoga certification,
Did he mean
She got
traditional medicine
introduced-
wasn't working? I think he misspoke there.
Well, yeah. Listen, as a person, like the only thing I slightly agree with Tony on is traditional medicine doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Still not gonna
Agreed.
try yoga, y'all. It's just nope. Well, traditional and hot yoga. Whatever sadist a-hole that figured out hot yoga, like it's cleansing.
I mean,
No.
it's if you look into studies about sauna, there's a lot of truth there, but I don't believe that hot yoga rooms are technically hot enough to be sauna, but I'm sure there's still benefit from it that's similar to that. But yeah.
I'm just, look, okay, Jung, here's my big problem with it. And I wouldn't have a problem if we didn't lie to ourselves. The warrior pose, that is a split squat. And while I am trying to do a split squat to maintain my core, you also want me to breathe and be at one with the universe. Well, that's no. Also trying to do downward dog, and then I'm just thinking, God, I really hope I don't fart. So maybe it's just that I wasn't in the right mindset. Maybe one day I'll listen to a Yanni album and I'll feel really in the mood and I'll do yoga.
It does make you feel better, but it is more difficult than you would think.
Yes, it is. Like, just stand here with your feet together and your arms up. And I'm like, this is going to be easy. I'm going to ace this class. And then they're like, okay, now slowly pick up your other foot. Do what now?
Yeah. It's like I can't balance on my left leg. It's like, why? I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know. Gravity is hard. Oh, let's listen to Tony talk about how yoga was the gateway drug into Hare Krishnaism. I'm just kidding. She wasn't a Hare Krishna.
to, I guess you want to say, an Eastern religion, Buddhist and based, or sorry, Hindu and based. I always thought it was Buddhist, but it was actually Hindu. And she
Yeah, those
shied
are
away
kinda
from
different,
the
so-
Roman Catholic Church. And her progression, her religion, through that religion and her following, also
It's a
took
fish
over
in the
her
Amazon.
medical outlook and her
Now I
medical treatment of herself as she shied away from.
Now I will never not think of farts as ass piranha.
Apparently, this is the correct answer.
Oh.
I've never heard it before.
Well, that makes more sense than ass piranha.
Than piranhas, yes. It
Hey.
makes much more sense.
I'm just saying, there are some that Mr. Mo leave in wait that are deadly and attack you like it's a whole school of farts and not just one.
Like that one last week. Ugh.
See, I love that Jung and Shalom know the real things and we're over here just joking about farts. Thank you for teaching us all the good things while we're over here stuck on a fart joke.
From unsuccessful medical interventions.
Around that time, was there a calamitous event in the life of Megan's parents?
Before the birth of my first son, in November of 2002, her father hung himself. She was very close with her father. She was not close with her mom. I was very close with her father. He was he was one of my good friends, one of the few males I trusted. One of the things I totally enjoyed about the relationship with her and her family was her relationship with her father. She was that close with him.
Right, sir. And then also,
Okay, I don't get why you're
along with
crying.
having 3 children yourself
They were besties
with
too.
Megan,
Oh.
she suffered
He didn't go to the Taylor Swift concert with Megan. He went with her dad.
Yeah, at some point in time, I believe he gets into like how they were besties as well. Her and her dad, like he's besties with everybody.
Everyone.
He is the Taylor Swift. But
Just not the
instead of
state prosecutor, but I bet if they would just have time, they would become friends too.
yeah, exactly. He needs a little time to like shake his way in there. You know what I mean?
True, because right now they have bad blood.
I don't know any other Taylor Swift songs.
I was going to say, but they are never, ever, ever getting back together.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I got nothing. I don't know any other Taylor Swift songs. That one day that I was reading them, I was literally reading them. I have no idea what they are.
Vale was like, something about an ex-boyfriend.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is like a song by Hailstorm, which is like, you call me a bitch like it's a bad thing.
Well, that's Tony's other personality when the state's prosecutors like, objection.
Yeah.
miscarriages, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did that also affect her approach towards her health or approach towards how she carried on day to day?
The first miscarriage happened when she first got bit by that bug. And before the whole progression of the disease, in the process under it, there was, of course, depression and that kind of stuff for losing a baby. And then in the fall of 2019, September actually, we were blessed. We found out that a simple weekend away, we conceived.
Thank you for not elaborating, Tony. You do so go into detail.
Was it miraculous? God, please tell me it was miraculous conception.
Please tell me you had nothing involved with it. The busboy took care of it. Please tell me. Please tell me you were in the Magic Kingdom. Cinderella's castle.
Yes.
In the teacups. I mean, wherever.
And Goofy was involved.
It truly was magical.
That's where all your
And
dreams
she
come
went from
true.
being depressed to very happy, dancing, singing, something that I hadn't seen in forever. And
'Cause you didn't make her happy.
Well,
we
no,
lost the baby,
Fail.
and it
True.
affected her big time. And obviously affected me, but
Well, I mean,
She
it
went-
affected her in that she realized to have another child, she'd have to sleep with you again. I mean, that might not have been the only thing she was upset about. I mean, but that would be why I was also crying. Also, just pause right here.
Because that's, oh, never mind.
Yes, his dad was. His dad was hired or charged with hiring a hitman to kill his mom.
Yes, Tony's
He-
dad was, yes.
Yes. Not the bug. We don't know what the bug had a vendetta against Megan.
Yeah. The six-legged Texas tornado bug in Florida.
Yeah. Yes. Dear God in heaven, this dude is so weird.
from that singing, humming, dancing person to not to days that she didn't get out of bed.
What was the religious group that she had migrated towards, the Eastern religion? Did you ever attend their services with your wife, or?
I was very supportive of my wife. I did not understand, nor did I follow this religious aspect. I was Roman Catholic. The way I was raised in a military family. My stepfather was a very proud military man. I was taught respect. I might,
Unresponsive.
This is the part where he wants to hit a woman.
Yeah.
Let's go back and see that. Now on your screen. I can't do a good Madden, but we're
Now
going to
we're-
watch here as he transitions from a sad sympathy face to, I would like to Rick James this situation.
Yes, watch his face, and he clenches his jaw. Like, you can physically watch the muscle in his face tighten. Like, watch.
I might,
Unresponsive.
Right there.
What's your question, Mr.
The
Wilson?
question that was asked was, let me ask an entirely different question so no confusion. I want to make sure I tie up some loose ends. You mentioned Lyme disease, and that's somewhat prevalent in New England, is that correct?
it seems like everybody has Lyme disease, yes?
And
you were in
that
Florida.
is
spared you, Tony.
transmitted by insects, bugs also, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And then what were the effects on that of your wife that you noticed?
When the Lyme disease became apparent and positive, she had breathing problems, heart rate problems, chronic pains.
I have a question.
When she had what was called exacerbations,
So,
Yes.
didn't he say that she had Lyme disease when she was a child?
Yes.
So he's saying that he never saw any symptoms until she got bit by the second Lyme bug in Florida.
That is what he's trying to say, but he kind of contradicts that when he was talking about how they were best friends.
Yeah.
And what he would, and talking about being in high school, had he not been sort of stopped, he was going to explain that she wasn't as athletic as he was because, oddly enough, he was like captain of the soccer team in high school.
Yeah.
But I do think that it was something that she had. Now, what you can have with a chronic condition is like flare-ups
Yeah.
and things like that. But he is trying to kind of dishonestly tie the Lyme disease to this other bug, this Florida bug, and it's
Yeah. Because from what little I know about Lyme disease is that it is a chronic thing. Like there are things that do flare up, but there is some underlying chronic things happening because it's like an autoimmune thing, if I recall.
yeah.
So like, it's not like there was no symptoms there, but the way that he's describing it makes it sound like nothing was going on, and then
Well,
suddenly
which
there
makes the
was.
whole bug thing really hard to believe because as a person with now a chronic issue, if I noticed, a boil on my affected leg or a bug bite that I thought that looked like it was getting painful, wounded, or infected and oozing, that wouldn't be something that's on a normal, say a reasonable, normal, healthy person. Yeah, okay, so it looks like a bug bite was infected. If you have, any sort of underlying autoimmune or any sort of thing like that, this would be something where you'd have to be incredibly on top of it. And if anything started to look off, I mean, it could require more serious treatment, like actually going into, an ER or things like that.
Yeah.
And yes, and that typically it would be in the earlier, so I think that takes anywhere from 48 to 96 hours. We don't have as many Lyme ticks or deer ticks out here, but it is something that I look for the kids since we live in a wooded area. So don't take what I'm telling you as a grain of salt. But yes, when you are first infected, you can get the bullseye appearance around the bite.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's usually if you get bit by something, a lot of people, especially depending on where you live, because if you have like venomous spiders and things too in your area, like typically when people get bit by something like this, they'll draw a ring around it. And that way they can track to see if it is actually spreading. Because, like, if you get bit by something, typically there's going to be redness or whatever there, but it's a problem when it starts to spread. And so
Yeah.
people will oftentimes, but the whole thing with this stupid bug bite that happened in Florida doesn't matter because she already had it. So
Yeah.
like, like this part is kind of inconsequential to the whole story, but he's making this out to be like the thing that caused everything to start happening. But that doesn't actually seem to track with how this actually works if she had this when she was a child. Like that's, or a teenager, I guess. So that part doesn't go together in my head just because it doesn't
No,
work like that.
unless he was going to then, once he got out of here with his excellent acting, he was going to then sue Disney for causing her Lyme disease. I'm sure
True.
that's why he kept making a big deal about the Disney, bug.
Yeah, when he should have been probably more worried about the crabs from Goofy.
Pretty much.
So, without getting too technical, your immune system is the best thing to keep any disease at bay. So whenever she didn't feel well, got sick, the Lyme would become more prevalent. So when the Lyme became more prevalent, not only did she have joint aches, she had feelings of hopelessness, depression,
That was just
not
being
wanting to
married
go
to
on certain days.
you.
There were
Again,
some days where I helped her shave her legs because she couldn't bend over, she was in so much pain, or couldn't breathe.
Mr. Todt?
Did you do a good job?
did you go with or against the grain, Tony? Also, things that never happened for 9,000.
Yeah.
No, and I speak from personal experience. I would rather duct tape my Lady Bic to a yardstick because of my gimpy leg before I let Mr. Mo try to, use said Lady Bic on me.
I mean, as somebody who's been shaving not only my face, but my head for, I don't even know, 23 years, I would probably do a good job. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'd probably do a
yeah.
good job.
But I'm just throwing out there that no, I'd like Mr. Mo and I had this talk because he's like, okay, what are some of the things that are hard for you? And I was like, there are things I will let you help me with, and there are things that I won't.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I mean, you say shaving is hard for you. And I was like, I will go get my hair lasered off before I allow you to do that.
I will use gasoline and a match.
And it's just one of those, like, listen, we have been married for umpteen years, but I would like there to be, I mean, there's no mystery left. The man, thinks attraction is farting in my general direction and then waiting for me to smell it. So, yeah, Hallmark cards. I know you're waiting for that one for Valentine's Day. But there are certain things that I'm like, no. I'll figure something else out. Thanks for offering, sir.
Yeah.
But if you want to go ahead and just like take out all the trash, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure he knows. No, that's a bad joke. Yeah. Let's just say I'm not sure that that's a new day, like a first day on the job. I mean, I am sure there are professionals at salons that will pay me $20 to hurt me, or no, I'll pay them $75 to hurt me and remove those particular hairs. That's a negative night rider.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Ms., your wife seek a different way to health through the Eastern religion?
Yes, she did,
Which
sir.
one?
And was it diet-based or worship-based, or what were the parts that appealed to her?
When
What
would
was
you
she
say they
seeking?
went to church?
She was seeking control over her own medical care. Basically,
we
anybody
all?
in a chronic illness wants some kind of control of their own self. She went from traditional medicine, she went to religious following of dictating what her healthcare was. She even followed a book from a guy who listened to a ghost who had no medical experience to tell her what she should.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, he's talking about the medical medium, which, to be fair, that's exactly how I would have described this person's medical career. He talks to a ghost. He knows nothing about meds, but apparently the ghost is like Lassie for, I don't know, hemangiomas. So here you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd take my medical advice from somebody who talks to
Also,
Casper.
can we narrow down which of the mean Eastern religions did it this? Was she a Zoroastrian? I mean, what the hell, sir? Maybe if you are gonna lie and say that your wife was seduced by a weird, polytheistic religion, pick one.
At least decide which one you're going to blame it on. I mean, yeah. It's his all of this is just so stupid. Like, none of it makes sense. I think that's the part that's like frustrating, is it doesn't make sense. It doesn't explain how we ended up where we are. Like,
Yes.
it just doesn't. But something he did say about like people who have chronic pain wanting to take control or have some control over, and it reminded me, if anybody's interested into some eclectic music, there's a guy called Ren. He has a song called High Ren, and he talks about that in that song. It's more about mental health things, but he actually did have like some chronic health issues, and it's really interesting, like listening to him actually talk about it and like sing about it. It's very, very interesting. It was the first thing that came to my mind when he said that. But
See,
yeah.
and all I can hear is my mom yelling because we lived on a septic tank. Well, then use a wire hanger to cut it up, but stop flushing the water. We live on a well. Homegrown wisdom from hillbillies. What can I say?
Beverly Hill Chuck.
Yes. But that does sound like a really good song to listen to, but that was what my brain was going to, because I could hear my mom just in the background. Well, we only kept one wire hanger, and I wouldn't put my clothes on it.
Oh. Hopefully it was like coated in something.
No,
So it
she
wouldn't
yelled that
rust.
once. We never kept the hanger, but it was funny. I was just like, of all the things, I mean, at least she didn't want to sacrifice one of her spatulas. I understand.
A potato masher.
No, not that either.
Should be doing what she should be eating and that kind of stuff. Called the medical medium.
Was there any discussion within that religious group about an afterlife?
Yes. This religious group could be conducted mostly by Skype or whatever
Just
video
like the
thing was at the time. I
Vatican.
think it was Skype.
Objection, hearsay.
No,
That the means of technology.
overruled.
Thank you.
I would sit with her during some of these meetings. They would give her prayers to pray.
But only after I reminded everyone that I follow the one true real God, Catholic Jesus.
Yeah.
But only with my rosary. I would sit with her, but I would have my rosary in holy water just in case they try to infect me with their weird Eastern religion.
I could perform an emergency exorcism.
Yeah, seriously.
Whether to help with what they were talking about with what was called family lineage karma burning. Because as in the Bible, Roman Catholic, the same thing she followed was the fact that your past, your past family's transgressions follow forward multiple generations. So her...
Only in the Old Testament, you giant douche. Well,
Yeah.
and in Rise of the Skywalker, too, but that's not canon to anyone.
So
So,
I'm looking up this family lineage burning.
it sounds like something he read on Quora.
Yeah. It's oh. In summary, burning down the family lineage is a symbolic act that represents the destruction of one's ancestral heritage.
Well, damn it. I'm going to have to call Aunt Cletus.
I think he misinterpreted something there.
He's like, wait, so we don't have to pull literal arson?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like more logical than how he's making it sound.
Yeah. Like, granted, that was like a summary. It's pulling from a bunch of different things, but like,
Oh,
yeah, it seems like it's more of a symbolic thing. Like, you're obviously not gonna like destroy
burn your
everything.
family?
Yeah, like that's not.
No, in theory.
Yeah.
As you asked, please repeat your question, just so I can make sure I repeat correctly.
Was there an afterlife component of this religious practice?
Yes, there was an afterlife component in which each afterlife, she believed that there was reincarnation. And as they burned the family karma in the current life, they reached a salvation in which they were reincarnated to a better life.
And was her
of
desire
Tony
to
Todt.
seek better health through this?
Yeah, but so either Tony graduated up in his past life from a slug, or he was the most majestic animal of all time, the manatee, and he really fucked up as a manatee. And they're like, no, you got to come back as a human. And he's like, but look, I'll be a better manatee. He's like, nope, you are a dick manatee.
It's almost walrus-like, not a manatee.
Yes.
A manatee.
Process by going into
Yes.
another life?
Better health and better relationships with people who had abused her and had verbally and otherwise affected her in her life.
Like her husband.
There was some
Like
discussion
you.
about a suicide note, and that was apparently directed from Detective Cole Miller to Dr. Nara. Were you aware of any suicide note?
When I came back to the house that day, she showed it to me, yes.
It's usually not how that works.
But I had no knowledge of it before I came home that day.
Wait, hold on.
And what was
That
her?
can't be correct. If y'all remember, in his interrogation, they talked about this extensively.
Yes, they did. They even had a family meeting, where instead of playing Scrabble or Connect Four, they asked all the children if mommy and daddy shuffled off this mortal coil, would you like to come? And if so, what would be your very special souvenir from, life that you'd like to bring?
Yeah. So, something ain't jiving here. Like,
Yes,
it's not
Jung,
adding
that's
up.
basically the path that he is trying to lead us down. Megan, in her desire to no longer want to be in pain and just wanting to have all the family go together, wanted to burn their familial karma and all and come back together.
Yes, the solution to her pain was to remove the entire family.
Yes.
Sounds like not something from what we know about Megan she would do.
Yeah, no. And his entire strategy changed to Megan did it while he was out of the house. He came back and she had done unalived the children and written up this unalive note, and he came back to, be to take care of Megan because she, bullied him into offing her. And then he was going to take the, blame for all of the things that Megan did. But in, away from the bad Eastern religion and in prison, he lost weight, found Jeebus, and then realized that he couldn't take the blame for Megan. He had to avenge his family.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because he's Bruce Wayne.
He is, in fact, Bruce Wayne and not Lord Farquaad.
Demeanor or attitude at that time?
She was trying to explain to me what she did. She was trying to make me understand. It was the whole aspect of it was she was trying to present this as fact. And I was telling her, I don't believe that, and I can't believe I called her some names, which I never called her before in my life. But the whole demeanor of it was, this is what I've been told through my meditations. This is what I believe. This is what, as she referred to as, the light has provided for her, and the light.
Talking about your own demeanor and how your countenance.
My own demeanor, when I found out what happened, I puked. I cried. I was in total denial of what happened. I couldn't understand.
I don't know. Use
And
more
then after
eyebrows.
that, I was
Maybe I'll
like,
believe
I
you.
want to get you help. I'll take responsibility for this. Just get help. That's all I wanted. I would do anything in my life to do what she needed, provide for what she needed, provide her a happy life. I held my wife on a pedestal. I didn't.
All right, Vale, I'm throwing out a hypothetical here. Now, you're, just out doing stuff at your other condo, and your wife happens to off your 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you come back. Are you going to call her some stern words, then tell her, I'm going to do anything for you? I want you to get help.
No, this is not. I don't believe that would be a Meatloaf moment.
Yeah. No. That would be like I'm going to call the cops now because if not, I will catch a case. So you better
Yes.
hope that they get here and can talk me down.
Yeah, that is what a reasonable person would probably do. I would probably skip the reasonable part. And
Yeah,
just go
no.
straight to catching a case.
Yeah, I mean, so according to this, he finds out that his, wife has unalived all of their children, so he kindly puts her into bed, stabs her a couple times in the abdomen, I mean, as you do, help her drink a crap ton of Benadryl, and then smother her with a pillow out of love.
Yeah. It's like
This would be Tony Todt. He unalived his entire family, including the dog. But now he's blaming it on his wife, who happened to have, passed and can't really tell him
I'm
that he
sorry.
was wrong.
His face looks like he just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yes. What is his face.
His facial expressions are just like ridiculous.
He is like if Jim Carrey were, well, looked like George or Lord Farquaad and George Costanza had a baby.
Yeah, it just his facial expressions are not appropriate. He is describing that he just came home to all of his kids being unalived by their mother, and she is telling him this. That is the face that he's choosing to make.
And he's talking about how he put his wife on a pedestal, and he worshipped her and something other stupid.
Didn't care anything to myself. I wanted her to have a good life, period. And I wanted her to get help. I didn't care.
Oh my
I
gosh.
work on shorter
Has my youngest, most feral turned around and had that face on him? Like, that is the face of my youngest, most feral being basically told, like, I need you to stop playing your video game. And then he realizes that he's talking to me, and he cannot show that kind of attitude.
sentences so that everyone can keep up, and I'll be,
My
No.
apologies, sir.
we're fine. Have you progressed from talking about the afterlife to talking about what happened to your children and your wife?
I don't understand what you mean, sir.
When you said what had happened with Megan, what were you talking about?
What had happened that day when I came home?
Which day?
I don't know.
You don't have to talk about calendar date. What was the occurrence that made that day memorable?
I came home and my kids were dead.
Sure. Work up a tear. Come on, it'll come down. You'll
It was
just
the
have
most
to
horrible
believe.
day of my life. And what made me more horrible is my wife died in front of me also.
Oh. And we're going to ask the studio audience whether we believed that. Oh, and the believometer, well, that's a no. And we have still yet to see an actual tear fall out of those teeny compressed little ducts.
Mr. Todt, had there been a blueberry
Mr.
pie that
Todt?
was cooked in the house?
According to what she told me,
Objection hearsay.
and
Hold on just a sec, Mr. Todt. Response.
Describe what you know or saw and not what you heard from another person, if you can.
thank you, sir. When I came home that morning,
Well, I mean,
I knew my family the night before was having dessert, and I declined it because you saw my health.
you were a chunkster, yes, but I have zero doubts you would have said no to dessert. And I am a, slightly deflating chunkster. I would have put zero-ish doubts on me avoiding dessert also.
I was jogging and losing weight. I came home that morning, and there was a melted purple, looked like a pudding pie. I can't really tell you exactly what it was. She told me
pudding
what it
pop.
was later, but it was in a graham cracker crust. And the kitchen, it was my job to clean the kitchen. But when I came home, that purple, bluish, grapish, melted pie, I guess you want to say, the pie dish was sitting there on the counter with some residue on the kids, at the kids' places on their plates.
Okay, here's the problem with this, children and adults alike. The amount of Benadryl. So what he is going to say is that this pie was the vehicle for enough Benadryl to have deeply incapacitated at least most of his family members, except for his young son. Now, They're not talking Dimetapp, they're talking Benadryl.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be disguised in a pudding pie. Now, my guess is that he put something in their drinks.
Yeah.
And, but they were incapacitated. I mean, only it looks like the oldest son fought back
Yeah.
as the father attacked them, but it doesn't look like any of the other family members really stood a chance.
Yeah.
So there's no way that they could have gotten all of that Benadryl in them through a pie that would have obviously tasted disgusting.
Yeah, as somebody who, when I was a child, I had to take medicine for something. I don't even remember. Well, I remember what it is, but it's a long story. But anyway, they had to give it to me because like it was so nasty that the doctors actually suggested giving it to me in orange sherbet, and I can no longer eat orange sherbet because it tastes like medicine to me now.
Yeah, so
It's yeah.
it is laughable that he thought that, and they might have disguised a little bit in there, but there's no way.
At that time, you came in, you saw that there were desserts that had been served up on the table,
I saw the remnants of it, yes.
and then did you then discover that your children were dead?
Not initially, no. I had gone upstairs. Well, I had too much information, but I had to pee. So I went to the bathroom and came out, and my wife was at the top of the stairs. My house was very quiet. Very unnormal having 3 kids. One 13, one 10 at the time, the other one 4 years old. She brought me in the room. I had been feeling nauseous that morning anyways, because I had these shakes I was taking for weight loss, all that. And around the same time that she was telling me I was
Don't make you
puking,
nauseous.
it was then
Yeah.
that I understood what had transpired. She had blood on her shirt. And after that,
Okay. So also what this man is trying to get you to believe about Megan, his wife, a woman who has been called like the penultimate mom. She homeschooled, she did all these things. She was intimately involved in all of their sports and, taking them everywhere. So as a person that's described as that penultimate mom, now what they did find in every child and, well, every person in the household, except for the daughter who unfortunately decomposed too much, is that each of them had at least 1 to 2 stab wounds in their torso, as well as having signs of being smothered. Now, I don't know that I can believe that any woman who is described the way Megan has been described, stabbing her children, giving them gut wounds, because the entire thing that he's trying to sell is that it's supposed to be a painless way to die and bloodletting for some reason. And a woman who can barely get out of bed most of the time, can barely go up and down stairs, managed to fight, kids and stab them. It's just, it's beyond incredulity. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
The only one who's shown that he's massively off kilter, doesn't like being talked back to, and can change moods on a dime is you, sir.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. The expectation that you're supposed to believe that, like Wolfram said, that this woman who was apparently bedridden, that he has testified to up to this point, that she's basically bedridden, that she was the one who took on their 13-year-old son, 10-year-old son, and 4-year-old daughter. She was the one that did this in her state that he wants you to believe. It's
Well, how else is he supposed to be the nursemaid and innocent?
yeah, exactly. Like that's where his story completely falls apart. Like even if you believed everything he had said up until like 2 minutes ago, like this is where it all falls apart.
All right, we're gonna skip just ahead and see how he does, how our beautiful little Tony Todt does with the state. Now this is his sad face. Thank you, Mr. Wesley, my lawyer, for letting me talk about my grief. Because, yeah, he spent way too much time talking about Texas bug.
Now cross-examination.
And he did turn towards the jury so they could see his agony.
Yeah.
In December of 2019, what was Megan's medical conditions?
Megan's medical conditions consist of neck pain, back pain, hypothyroidism, Lyme disease, heart rate issues, breathing issues.
And did all of these medical issues
Medical conditions, neck pain is not a medical condition. Now you can have cervical, tightening of the spines, you can have spondylosis, you can have a couple different things, you can have frozen neck muscles, but you cannot have, there is no code to bill for medical billing that just says neck pain as a diagnosis.
Yes, I can testify to that, because as the beginning of last year of 2023, for the first 3.5 months of the year, I couldn't move my head because my neck was so stiff. I went to a doctor and they're like, there's nothing medically wrong with you other than you clearly can't move your head. They're like, there's nothing medically wrong with you though.
Yeah, because
Like,
you have
thanks,
to be able
doc.
to put a medical diagnosis for and neck pain, no. But let's listen to him explain it, because he's got a MD in stupidity.
make her frail?
Frail is a very subjective term. Can you please be more descriptive? please?
Did all of Megan's medical conditions make it hard for her to engage in everyday living?
Yes.
Did Megan's medical condition make it hard for her to walk?
At times, yes, but she hit it very well.
So going back to the date that you remember coming home to your family being gone, how was Megan walking that day?
She was walking fine. She had woken up pain-free the day before because she had told me.
It was almost a Christmas miracle, but then Jesus remembered that she didn't follow him anymore. And he said, screw that, heifer, have your pain back, see if Buddha will take care of it.
We got door blood instead.
Yes. What the... Because he's realizing how dumbass it sounds, because he spent, a good hour and a half talking about how Megan could barely get out of bed. And then he's like, no, she threw her walker. Have you ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? She's like Grandpa. I mean, it took her a couple, running steps around the family bed, apparently. Was anyone else freaked out about the family bed? Where people's feet were? And just...
Yeah.
Here's Grandma Josephine and Grandpa Earl, and then here's Grandpa Joe, and where Grandma Josephine's feet are where Grandma Josephine used to be, but,
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I always thought of that. I was like, feet are weird, and I would not, no, I don't care how poor we are, you're kidding me, you better find me a futon, okay?
The light had interceded and the light had enabled her to do so.
Okay, so she was walking around fine.
Correct?
And did she complain to you at all about You said she was pain-free, so she didn't have to take any medication?
She was on a whole list of herbal stuff, some of which I have no idea what she was taking. Plus, she took this whole diet thing in which she would boil these mushrooms, in which she would do whole sorts of, there's so many things she would do.
Shrooms?
Okay, so she was engaging in holistic practices.
Holistic and
magical?
religious and spiritual practice, that's correct.
Okay. And you said that Megan had gotten diagnosed with Lyme disease as a teen.
That was her initial diagnosis, that's correct, and she had exacerbations. Like I had told you before, the diagnosis,
My question was a yes or no question. Let me ask my next question.
well, allow me to elaborate.
My
No.
question was a yes or no question.
That's fine, thank you, ma'am.
After she was diagnosed, or you were told she was diagnosed with Lyme disease, how long was it before she experienced symptoms?
Which time?
The first time.
I didn't know her when she initially got diagnosed with Lyme. She initially got diagnosed the first time when I was in 2011 and went through exacerbations, up and down cycles, all depending on her condition of her health, condition of her physically, condition of her mentally, condition of her stress-wise, condition of her emotionally.
And did she
Okay, bitch face. I mean, seriously. It's not like you're here in Kroger asking for them to get more Kohl's cash for you. I would tone down the absolute Karen-ness of your face.
Yeah.
get diagnosed with Lyme disease as a teen or in 2011?
Like I explained before, I guess you want to say the jury is out of whether or not you have Lyme disease or Lyme exacerbations coming back and forth.
Okay.
She got diagnosed initially.
I don't have any other questions.
Allow me to finish, ma'am.
I don't have any other questions about that.
God, I love it every time she cuts him off.
I know. I love
He's
it.
like, allow me to finish. And she's like, you probably never let Megan finish. I'm just returning the favor, sir.
Exactly. That's exactly where my head was going.
Oh, I'm glad we think alike. I was thinking of reason number 12. I can't be a state's attorney because I would say, just taking one back for girl kind, sir.
Yeah.
That.
Thank you, ma'am.
I love how he looks at the jury like, can you believe this cunt?
Yeah.
Is it your testimony that
Dab,
Yes,
dab.
show
from
them-
2011 until December of 2019, Megan was suffering?
From 2011 to
Yes.
2019?
Yes.
Off and on, yes. But she consistently had all the breathing issues, the pain, and the heart rate issues, all depending on how bad they were and how bad they were affecting her to the day.
Prior to the day of the deaths, had Megan been suffering?
Most definitely.
When was the most recent time that she had been suffering?
Like I told you, I woke up that morning, all of a sudden, she was pain-free. The night before, I had worked on her. I had worked on her continuously, every
Is that
day,
what he
for
called
over a year after she weaned from Zoe. Before she went to bed,
Wait a minute. Zoe was 4. She was
Yeah.
nursing for 3 years. Well, that's some dedication I didn't even show my own children. To be fair, about the time I weaned one, I was pregnant with the other. But, you know, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
also, sir, I would want, look, maybe Megan loved you, but you being around me trying to touch me when I'm in chronic pain, no.
Yeah. I have questions. And we have
when
a
she woke
resident
up in the morning,
expert.
to help with her pain so that we can get her to the regular doctors. She had a doctor's visit scheduled for the Thursday after Thanksgiving. Forgive me, I do not have the date, in which
Because
she
she was
canceled
dead.
because she had said, there's no hope, there's nothing more that can be done.
Okay, so what kind of work did you do for Megan?
Did myofascial release, craniosacral, any type of relaxations that,
Okay. Myofacial release is some of the most fucking painful stuff you can do. So myo meaning actually deep into the muscle tissue release. or muscle tissue release. So if you have a knot, that where the so myofascial release is, if not having Lyme disease, I don't know, but let me tell you, if this fucker had tried to come at me with some myofascial release when I'm having a bad day, it'd be on. It'd be on like Donkey Kong's. Because no.
Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me.
And cranial sacral could do helpful things if it is more tied to her parasympathetic, kind of pathways, that sort of relaxation. But myofascial release is in fact the opposite thing you would want to do
But it sounds
if you're in
intelligent.
pain. Not when you know
sounds-
what he's talking about.
Well,
Then it
yeah.
sounds like he's the dumbest dumb fuck who ever fucked.
But I don't think that he's thinking that. He's thinking that these people are all dumb because they're definitely not his peers, right? But it sounds smarty.
Yes, DK Cripples with me as one of the very first Canadian kids to have fascia release done in the early 90s. He's a horrible, horrible liar. It hurts so much. It does amazing thing afterwards, but I mean, no, it is not fun.
Ouch.
Is that some where it puts balloon up your nose and blow them up? No. So if you have it's basically where the practitioner will go in and break up. So knots are basically adhesions in the muscle tissue. Basically, lactic acid kind of builds up, and for some reason, lactic acid becomes glue. And you basically have, well, think about like your fingers all being stuck together. So the person will go in there and break up the little connections, the little micro scarring that's happened between the muscles. And basically, you are going in and you are separating each of those muscles apart. And it's just as painful as it sounds.
That sounds not fun at all.
It's not fun, but if you do have an adhesion, if you do have a scar that is, growing that way on your muscle, it can be very beneficial to break those up, because if they don't, they can start to calcify, and it's really, you have to get them before they get to that point. So but usually you should just ask to be knocked out if you have to get it done.
That's what Shalom said. Is they want to knock her out in the OR to fix her shoulder.
It hurts. I mean, you are basically going in and breaking up scar tissue. So
I have a stupid question, and that you may not know
Nope.
the answer to this. But okay, so is the calcification like what happens, like if you say like you break a bone and you don't get it fixed, and like how like it starts to kind of quote unquote heal itself, where it just starts to, calcium just starts to go there and it starts to heal itself, and like it never really is normal, but it kind of is. Is it kind of like the same thing where it's just a hard lump?
it's a hard lump. I am not a doctor. But so when you break a bone, if it isn't set right, and even if you'll notice when you get say you have a broken bone, if you were to watch your body kind of fix that bone, it would look like there was a knot growing on the part of the bone where it's healing for a
Yeah.
little bit, because it tends to kind of grow back thicker. And then other sort of cells that will liquefy bone,
Yeah.
they come back and reshape it in its optimum sort of way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I used it as an example because I do have one. Like I have a bone that's like that in my hand. And so like it's weird though, because like it's hard, but like unfortunately it's on my right hand. And so like sometimes when like if somebody has like a really firm handshake, like, and they squeeze too hard, like it feels like they're breaking my hand.
Yeah. Well, and so the fascia, yeah, basically it's what we first thought was going on with my ankle was compartment syndrome. So you do have sort of a casing that goes around your muscle grouping, and compartment syndrome is where one of the parts of the muscle, it just swells up to the point that it's sort of tendons, but it's kind of like there's an outer coating on each of the fibers of muscles. To be gross and crude, it's sort of like the casing on a sausage.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So yeah, it does. But that's about all the medicalness I know. I'm no Tony Todt.
Yeah. Who?
But sure, let's continue to hear him and all the dumbass stuff that he does to his wife, who is in immense pain by causing her more pain.
My apologies, ma'am. Manual therapy, in which I was trained under, different things I would go to school for, or continuing ed for, to help treat her. Stuff I've read about, stuff I've gone through, everything within my scope of practice.
I'm asking you what you specifically did. So if you were
I'm telling
going
you
to
what I did.
treat her,
Yep.
what were the different things that you did?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Okay? There's no
No.
cookbook recipe in physical therapy. It's treating her ailments and treating her pains.
Okay, so you
whether
did
or not her liver was inflamed, I did myofascial release to help release the liver. She had digestive problems. I would do integrated.
You would not do myofascial release on a liver.
I mean, Mo, maybe your liver's not in your face, but maybe hers was.
Well, first of all, you generally don't, deeply massage anyone's liver, especially someone who has liver, yeah, you generally just don't generally, for the fuck's sake, you do not massage anyone's liver. I don't.
According to Dr. Todt over here, you can, and it helps. I mean, so anybody who's drank too much, all you need to do is some myofascial release on your liver,
The liver.
and it'll do amazing things for you.
Could do what you could do. So say she was having digestive problems. You could do a warming compress on her, stomach, possibly different torso maneuvers that might, get her to, like say she had a trapped fart, but you don't just press on her liver like this to
Get some Gas X and a squatty potty. I mean, it'll do you wonders.
Okay, yes, maybe that's what he meant. Emphatic release instead of, I don't know, myofascial liver deep tissue massage. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
And this, by the way, this is not medical advice. I should throw that in there.
Yes. His unrelenting.
Oh, Jesus.
Just,
Calcifications of the fascial compartment are associated with dermatomyositis and polymyositis, and diseases that are characterized by muscle inflammation with or without cutaneous and subcutaneous involvement. That's a lot of big words.
so you basically have, dermatomyositis, basically something involving your skin, but also, so when you see itis, that just means sick. So multiple
Means
muscle
thick?
itis. Sick, ick. So,
sick.
Sick.
Thick.
So, well, like you can have Rhinitis. It simply means inflamed or diseased. It doesn't. And
Okay.
basically, the facial compartment are those kind of casings on the outside of those individual bundles of muscles that go on to make your bigger muscles. So you're basically going in and like releasing these hairs from each other, because those fascia can sometimes get stuck together, and then you have that knot and it's inflammation. But he's such a degenerative asshole.
Manual therapy to help with those digestive problems. She had neck pain. I helped with her neck pain. She had relaxation issues and stress issues and heart rate issues and vagus nerve issues. I would help
But
her
I'm sure you
desensitize
touching
that through
her
craniosacral therapy. I would do anything she needed to get done to
I've
help
got
her
nerve
get
issues
better,
listening
to
to
help
him.
her progress in her life.
When was the mother helpers hired?
The mother's helper hired was initially after Tyler was born to help here and there to bring the kids, bring my oldest son to C school. So that would have been 2010-ish, 2011-ish, but she was upped to more after she got sick to help provide through the assistance of her aunt, who helped finance her, and ourselves.
Okay. At what point was the mother's helper no longer necessary?
It was no longer never necessary. She had moved on to another career. We got another nanny, worker, that kind of stuff, which Megan and her did not get along with. Then she decided that warm weather was better, so she came down here. In many pleas to help get somebody else, we got a babysitter in which you want to know the whole truth. I'm telling you the whole truth.
My question, at what point did you not have
For
assisted help?
question.
Month
what point?
and year.
After a year, let's see, we moved down here in 2014.
So,
No, I apologize. Nope. Full-time was after Zoe, so full-time was 2016, she came down here. After that, we had no help because she fired the babysitter that we had.
okay. So was Megan the caregiver for the children during the week?
Through this couple days that I was away, yes.
And you mentioned the couple days that you were away, you still had a practice up in Connecticut at the time,
We
right?
had a practice in Connecticut, that's correct.
And isn't it,
It is now we practice because Megan was also the one, you guys, who was cooking the books.
Yeah.
Now, that's what he's going with.
Yeah. The feds, however, say otherwise.
Yeah.
correct that you would travel during the week up to Connecticut?
That's correct, as long as my wife's issues and my wife's health dictated such. There were times in which I would literally land, and I would get a phone call from my son or my wife that things are bad, and I'd hop on the first flight back.
Did that happen often?
It happened quite a bit.
And when you say things were
Pretty
bad, is
much.
this mentally, physically, what are you talking about?
All the above, from the miscarriage and bleeding, to the fact of her ripping the shelves off the wall, and my boy was scared, to her breaking the dishes, to her not being able to get out of bed. And then as things progressed, and I found that my older son was preparing a lot more meals, before I would leave for the couple days I was gone, I would make sure that
Objection,
there was...
non-responsive.
Ask your next question.
Oh, you might not want to look like such a twat, sir. Which is hard because you have a dingling, but you
You
do look
are
like a twat.
a practice, are you indicating you're practicing Roman
Allegedly.
Catholic?
I am a practiced Roman Catholic trying to find, I have a Christian base and migrated to more Christian base. However, I'm trying to find a church that suited me because Roman Catholic law did not.
It's hard to find a prison, though.
Isn't it true that during your interview
Have you
with,
thought about Orthodox, Catholicism? Sure, the Greeks would love you.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, Catholicism turned out to be really big on this whole thou shalt not murder thing. I might try Rastafarian.
And, I mean, because of the whole quote-unquote search for other religions is that whole thing about no gods before me and, yeah. I don't think he's doing so hot.
Yeah.
Oh, and that
Detective
thou shalt
Miller,
not
you
steal.
indicated to Detective Miller that you were a forced Catholic.
Growing up, I was.
And at what point in time did Meg, and I'm asking for a year and a month, if you know, at what point in time did Megan begin seeking other religion alternatives?
In what regards, in what capacity do you speak of, ma'am?
You indicated that she
Yes,
initially was Catholic
he has
with
resting
you,
smugly face.
and that she sought other religious alternatives.
Well, let
When
me-
did she do that?
Let me correct your chronology.
Possible
if you may.
resting Smeagol face,
She came
too.
back and got confirmed.
And
because
very
we were going
clever
married
way
in
to get
Catholic
a
church.
result
She was
in
not
there.
a practicing Catholic at the time, except for going here and there and practicing Easter. Okay? When she got her yoga certification, she got introduced to this new gallery through one of the things. That was in
When?
That was in 2009. After she got sick in 2011, she progressed 2012, 2013 to Gallery and Mirabai.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that I am like no, I'm about 6 months away from finding where the Eastern religion hurt me. Or can I start without the yoga thing and then move on to yoga as I get more into the, nameless Eastern religion?
Yeah, I think you can yogi without the religion part. I think you can. Pretty sure you can.
Awesome. Gonna start wearing a robe outside just for no reason. Just say I'm practicing my new religion.
You said 2012 and 13?
Correct, after she got sick.
She was already sick, you numbnuts.
When did you become aware
When did I become aware of what?
that Megan was going towards this alternate religion?
When she told me. Initially, she would share her yoga certifications and her courses. And then in 2012, 2013, she would have me sit in on her teleconferences or whatever you want to call them. And I saw her progressing further and further away from medical towards the spiritual aspect.
Okay.
Excuse me for one second.
No.
Going to the day that this happened, that you said you came home, where were you coming home from?
I had decided with my wife's conversation the night before that I would take the opportunity to go over, do some maintenance issues of the condo, and to put together my daughter's bike.
Okay, so did you leave the night before or in the morning?
The night before the morning of what, ma'am?
When you came home and said you found your children dead?
I left the night before, after dinner.
When?
After dinner?
What time?
Ma'am, I was on vacation. I don't know the time. I can tell you it was after dinner time because we sat there and I had my shake prepared and helped leftovers. I had gone over there and realized that my kids did not put the tools in my van, so I walked back and played basketball with them for a couple hours.
Okay, so
So, no
did you
time.
finish dinner first?
I didn't eat dinner. My kids finished dinner, yes.
Did your children finish their entire?
Oh my God. She was talking about, did you as a family finish dinner? I know you were so proud of yourself for saying no to the fork, Borky. But not everyone. Man, I swear.
He's insufferable. Okay. The way that he is how I expected Sarah Boone to be, but she wasn't this
No,
bad.
she was actually good until she made her sentencing statement.
Well, yeah.
But good for Sarah. Like, still not great on the humanity scale, but
Yeah,
holy
but this
God.
this is what I expected her to be like.
Same. I really did. And now that I know that we have Lori Vallow Daybell pro se, I'm not saying that I have a
Jesus.
couple wigs picked out from the herd, but I am going to be buying blonde wigs. I just don't know if I can get the same Kool-Aid looking, lipstick and do the baby ponytail like she does. But I'm
She's a
willing to
special
give it a
one.
try. The vacant look is going to be really difficult for me because I have functional thoughts.
Yeah.
Entire dinner before you left.
They finished the dinner that was provided with them. I don't know if they ate afterwards.
Did you said it was your job to clean the kitchen. Did you clean the kitchen?
No.
So,
Leftovers, we throw stuff away. There was nothing to clean.
okay, so you didn't clean any, I don't understand what your job is to clean the kitchen if you didn't have.
Pots, pans, that kind of stuff. Nothing was there because we didn't cook. We had leftovers. We
Okay,
had,
okay.
what's it called? Hummus toast. Or They
Okay.
had hummus toast.
And you said you weren't hungry, Or you?
I had a shake, I wasn't gonna eat at the time, no.
Okay. And did Megan eat?
You know, I don't know.
And did you have one vehicle or two vehicles in Florida?
In Florida, one,
One vehicle. And that was the red van?
yes.
And how long after dinner did you go over to the condo?
After dinner, it's hard to say, 30, 45 minutes after everything was completed. I was like, I'm gonna sleep out. I took the van over because I was preparing to bring more stuff back from the condo to the house, kids' toys and that kind of stuff.
What kind of stuff did you?
The house that they were going to be evicted from
Yeah.
for non-payment. But yes, that house that he was going to go get other spoils.
Yeah.
You
And
have a condo?
I forget that.
We have a whole second residence there. The kids' toys, my daughter's, there's a bunch of blocks. The kids wanted some of their books, some of their stuffed animals, some of that. Enough stuff I wasn't going to carry, so I was going to put it in the van.
When you moved to 202 Reserve Place, what did you take with you from the condo?
What did we take with the condo? Clothes,
Is that it?
maybe some dishware.
And how long had you bought the condo in 2005, right?
That's correct.
When did it become fully furnished?
The condo?
Yes.
Let's see, we bought it in July 2005, maybe August? No, I apologize. There was a renter in there, so October.
Wait.
October 2005.
Okay, so in October 2005, you fully furnished the condo.
The condo, that's correct.
Did you ever live there full time?
What do you mean?
Did you ever live at the condo full time?
My wife and I lived in the condo from October
Same,
2005,
shalom.
thereabouts, until July 2006, when we moved up to have my son in Connecticut, in which we bought that house up there and rented the condo out.
Okay, did you ever move back into the condo?
Yes,
When?
full-time, as in after selling the house. I think we sold the house in 2017 or 2018 in Connecticut. So my wife had started snowbirding. I want to say 2014, 2015, and she made it permanent in 2016 or 17.
During the time that you rented the condo, did you leave it fully furnished or did you have renters furnish it?
We had renters furnish it. I moved all that stuff back up to Connecticut.
And on the night after dinner, is it your testimony that you got in the van and drove over to the condo?
Yes.
And the condo really wasn't that far from 202 Reserve Place, right?
No, because of one-way streets and all that, it took me 5 minutes.
Okay. So you get to the condo, what do you do when you get there?
I go in the back of the car to get my tool bag out that I asked the boys to put in, realized it wasn't there. So I walked back.
Did you ever make it up to the condo?
No,
And you tested, what do you do with the van?
left it there because I walked back to get the tool bag, in which
Okay.
I looked at the boys, I'm like, did you guys forget something? And they looked under the basketball hoop and they're like, oh, the van was locked. The tools are there. So we wrestled a little bit and they asked me to play basketball. I had a friend who always told me to take every opportunity to play with the kids because you never know when they're not going to play with you. So we played basketball for a while. We played horse. We played a whole bunch of basketball games.
For how long?
Ma'am, you're asking me, I don't know, sunlight's up longer here? Hour and a half? I don't know.
Was it still sunny out
no.
when you left?
There was sun in the sky. I can't tell you what capacity. It was still light outside.
Okay. About what time did you usually eat
The
dinner?
sun was still apparent.
It depended on what activities there were. That night, probably about 5-ish, 5:30. Some nights at 8, some nights at 7. It all depended.
Okay, is it fair to say that the kids probably ate between 5 and 8?
It could have
Okay.
been 4:30. It could have been 4.
He's
all
full of
depended on
it.
activity.
Because I know he makes his smart remark about, like, I don't know what time is the sunset in Florida. And it's like, it's December in Florida. Like, I'm in the middle of the country and it's 4:30 and it's almost dark outside.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've been in Florida a whole bunch in December that I paid attention, but I think 7 would probably be calling it. But sure, and also, Yes, I get that this woman is adversarial to you staying out of prison, but you don't have to be such a flibbity gibbet about everything. Well, I don't know, ma'am. I wasn't wearing my Garmin. I couldn't tell you how long I played horse with my boys. Ma'am, I don't know. I'm not like a chronologist, okay? I was on vacation. I mean,
Yeah.
just
It's like, I'm not an astrophysicist where I can tell where the shadow is on the ground and tell you what time it is. It's like, well, you're also not a doctor, but you said a whole lot of that.
yeah, he's just such a just moldering butthole about stuff that doesn't need to be.
If they ate early, we had a later night snack.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
So what happens after you play basketball?
I told the boys it was getting late. Megan had told me that she wanted to go to bed early that night because everybody had just gotten over the stomach bug and didn't want to be sick for Christmas.
Okay.
So I said, go into your mom. I'm going. Good night. I'm going over. Just remind mommy I won't be home. I'll either be sleeping in the condo or
Thank
the,
you, Barnacle Bob.
what's it called? The studio apartment above the garage. Because I was a bull in a china closet. You saw how big I was. I was a klutz.
No, you're a yutz.
Did you often not sleep at
That's
home with your
Yiddish.
wife?
Yeah, when I traveled to Connecticut.
What about when you weren't in Connecticut?
Most of the time I slept with my wife. That night I said I would take the opportunity to go put together my bike, or my daughter's bike, fix the door,
Yes.
garbage disposal.
All three
run
movies
bleach
were
down
bad.
the air conditioner, normal maintenance stuff. And she made
I don't know.
She didn't want me
'cause he's
waking
a
her up.
Doofus.
Okay. So how do you get back to the condo?
I walk.
And what tools do you bring with you?
It was a tool bag full of, there's, what they call socket wrenches, screwdrivers, a gross array of all tools. I had a utility bag.
You
Okay.
are a gross array.
So you carry the utility bag and you walk over to the condo, right?
I walk over to the van, that's correct.
So you walk to the van?
Yeah.
What do you do with the van?
I realized the phone, when I realized it wasn't the phone, it was an iPod, that was lacking in the charge. So I went in, knowing I didn't have a charger up in the condo. I had a car charger. So I sat in there, decided to take a rest, because I was exhausted as I charged the phone.
Okay. So how long are you in the van?
I fell asleep.
What kind of phone charger did you have in the van?
It's a plug into the, what's it called? Cigarette lighter thing.
Sir, you dumbass. As a non-carologist, even I effing know this one. That she's asking, did your dumbass leave your car on all night in order to maintain that charge, or did you fresh run your entire car out of battery?
Yeah, it's I think somebody else said it like just a little bit ago. Like, he's being so pedantic about things, about stupid
I
things.
expect him to. I expect to hear that. Actually,
Yeah,
in comic book number 34712, like I expect him to become comic book guy.
yeah. Like,
Also, how do you speak with that much phlegm in your mouth to make that noise with your... Sal, I worry about you, sweetie.
Just don't let him give your liver myofascial release
Yeah, don't let him anywhere near your liver
or your myofascial.
Sal. Or your chakras.
Did you have a phone charger back at 202 Reserve Place?
Oh yeah, that's where they all were.
So
Okay, so
how
you
long were
walk back
you
for your
sleeping in the van?
tools.
I woke up by the sunshine the next morning.
So you slept the entire night in the van?
I'm sure I woke up at one point or another and went back to sleep. It was not uncurrent. I used to fall asleep in the pickup line to pick up my kids at school.
Okay, so did you sleep in the front seat, the passenger?
Front driver's seat.
Front driver's seat, okay.
The
Did you ever
captain's
go inside
chair.
the condo?
Nope, never made it up there. Because I woke up and realized the sun was up, so obviously it was later than the 4 o'clock I usually woke up to treat my wife. And I didn't want to be in the doghouse but with her waking up and being in pain and me not being there and not being able to provide for her.
Okay, so what time?
Yes, because what every chronic painer needs is Tony Todt in their face. Damn it, if only he weren't in jail, we'd all be cured.
Yeah. And it's like, I know it's like, this is me being pedantic. I'm sorry, but like, it's hard to be like, oh, I was afraid I was going to end up in the doghouse because, you know, my 90-pound little wife. And it's like, bro, like everything he says just doesn't make sense. Like,
And yeah, noticed how much he hates to be inconvenienced, you know, when he talks to the state prosecutor. Notice
Yeah.
how congenial and kind and giving he is when he's
Yeah.
asked to, you know, move on to the next damn subject.
yeah, or answer
just a
just a question.
Yeah. Or stop moving in his seat.
Did you wake up?
Sunlight was up. What time sunrise in Florida?
So after, do you drive back to 202 Reserve Place or do you walk?
I walked.
Okay,
Hope your wiener
why did
goes
you
and
drive over
becomes
to
an innie
Longview
after
Avenue in the
that
first place then?
statement.
As I repeated the first, which was already said, I was bringing stuff back from the condo that were of my kids that they wanted back. Obviously,
You never went to the condo, so why the were you at the condo then, other than to get a nap, apparently?
Yeah, it's like you went to the parking lot. You didn't go to the condo.
He's like, I was bringing stuff in, and I had a bike. And I was, no, you didn't. You were asleep. I mean, to go to one of my favorite shows, The Golden Girls, at least when Sophia said, picture it, pussycat, it was Sicily, 1909. There were 2 goats, 5 families. I mean, at least that, you knew you were probably listening to something that never happened, but it was going to be entertaining and it was going to have a point and not as many plot holes as this particular story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to carry a whole bag of whatever in my hands. So I brought the van to load in all the blocks, load in some of the kids' their Lego toys, bring back some of the stuffed animals.
Okay. So, you get back, and now it's daylight.
The sun is up, yes.
And which door of the house you go into?
Back door.
So you go in the back door, and what do you do?
Go to
Me
pee.
too.
After I walked through the kitchen and saw the remnants of everything.
Okay. So you see,
Hey, Sherlock, shit for brains. Remember when you said that you took everything, there was no mess? Because you pitched everything, it was leftover night with hummus toast, which if that was a leftover, I'd say I'll pass.
But the
So
mess.
now you're telling me that your wife, your mean, evil, conniving wife, didn't even tell you that there was a dessert option?
Well, maybe she made the pudding pie after he left because she knew he was going to eat it all. And she needed to save it for the children.
That's so dumb. He's like, I got all their toys from the condo. The condo you didn't go in?
Yeah. It's just,
Oh.
yeah.
He's doing a marvelous job. Just marvelous.
Yeah.
everything's still on the table. You walk, you pass the bathroom to go upstairs, right?
No, I went to the bathroom downstairs.
Okay. I thought earlier you testified that you went upstairs to go to
After
the
I went to the bathroom. What I testified was I went to the bathroom, then went upstairs to meet my wife.
Okay. So at what point did she come to the top of the stairs then?
When I came out of the bathroom downstairs, she must have heard motion. She was at the top of the stairs.
Okay. So, were the doors to the library open or closed?
Don't know, didn't see him.
Is the library not close to the stairs?
The library is past the stairs, that's correct. But when you have to pee, you have to pee.
Well, you're standing at the bottom of the stairs looking up at Megan at the stairs. You can't see the doors to the library?
Ma'am, can you see that gentleman back there?
I'll give him credit.
Mike?
That is true. When you have to pee, and you don't notice things.
True, but if you're supposed to be this uber attentive husband and you notice that there was a struggle and things were still knocked over, in that library room, you might say, "Hey, Megan, I mean, quick question. Seems like you're awful hot to tell me something, but hold that thought, sweetheart, woman of whom I worship. But what the hell happened in the? I mean, this is a rental. This is not our house. These are not things we can afford to replace. Why is the hell is the door down or the chair down and all the things, scattered?" And she's like, "Well, sweetie, if you'll just walk up here, I know it'll be difficult, but got some things to tell you." Like,
Yeah. It's like, we can talk after you shake it.
and his attitude, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's
You
so
don't
bad.
ask me questions, I ask you questions. Can you see the door to the library when you're standing at the stairs looking up at Megan?
No,
Okay. And you're engaging with Megan, and what is Megan's demeanor? Not what she says, what is she doing, and how is she appear to you?
she's standing at the top of the stairs. She has tears in her eyes and said, "You're alive."
Okay. And what is she wearing?
She's wearing my gray Hydra Works shirt, which is something she usually slept in. And she's wearing some kind of pants of some sort.
Yeah, well, you should be saying that she's covered in blood because that's what you told your lawyer. That's usually what I would first say if I was talking about how she appeared to me, like, "Hey, Megan, why are you covered in blood?"
Yeah. It's like, my first question would be, what happened? Are you okay?
Not, "Oh, she typically wears my shirt because if you didn't see me before, but I had quite the set of moobs. So it didn't fit me back then when I was a double D. So she got to wear it since she had lost her womanly curves."
But like, and that doesn't even make any sense, right? Because like, he was larger than he is now. And if she's supposed
Yes.
to be this 90-pound little thing, like, the shirt would fall off of her because she was 90 pounds. Like,
Yes.
she couldn't even wear it. Like, I understand that some people like to have big shirts and stuff to wear to bed or whatever, but look at, if you remember the picture or like the interrogation thing, like how big he was. And then imagine like a 90-pound person. Like, those things don't mesh.
No, not to mention, again, let's say I play the same scenario, but it's Mr. Mo, and I walk in and he's got blood and he's crying. Well, I'll be damned if I could tell you what he was wearing beyond, I'm pretty sure he wasn't dressed up in, anything worn by Ziggy Stardust. I don't know that I could tell you what he was wearing, but I will remember, for always, or I would imagine that I would only remember that he had blood on his hands. I mean, because that's
Yeah.
how normal people, when faced with something like that,
Yeah,
would say
like-
things.
Exactly. Like, you remember like the things that stand out. Like, you typically don't remember like the average thing, like the thing that, like, I wear this shirt, on whatever. Like, you don't remember those things. Like, you remember the things that stand out typically, especially in traumatic situations. Things that you'll remember are things that don't fit.
Tammy, you are correct. It can be very, very gentle, but I don't put it upon this man to be gentle.
Because
But
he was a
actual,
bull in a china shop.
not to mention, I don't put it on him to have mastered any of his physical therapy techniques.
No.
She had clothes on.
And did she have any injuries at that point?
Ma'am, she was standing there. She was fine. I don't know.
Okay, so again, he is trying to sell that she had attacked their children, stabbed them, in addition to smothering them, but stabbing them. And it was clearly evident that one of the children put up a fight. So she is a 90-pound woman, fighting a 13-year-old boy, who is known to be athletic. But he's like, ma'am, like, you idiot moron female.
Yeah.
I was peeing. Damn it.
Yeah. It's like, the story just, none of it adds up. None of it does. And any thinking person, Like, oh yeah, a sick 90-pound woman. That should be pointed out. Yes, a sick 90-pound woman.
Yeah.
It's like,
But he is so lost in the they'll just believe me that he doesn't remember what he said from story A to story B. And there wasn't, a big gap of time between these.
yeah.
I hugged her, kissed her, told her, I'm sorry I'm late. Asked
Okay,
her where
so
the
what
kids were.
happens next?
I go into the bedroom because I wasn't feeling well, and she wanted to talk to me in the bedroom.
Okay, and what happens next?
We start communicating, and like I said, when I woke up, I felt nauseous anyways. And I don't know if it was because of the nauseous I woke up with or what she was telling me. I puked.
Okay, and so are you in the master bathroom?
That's correct.
And where's Megan?
She's somewhere behind me.
So you don't know?
She's talking within voice distance. I can't tell if she's this distance away or she's this distance away.
Is she in the bathroom?
Like I said, I can't tell. You're asking me specific. She's in the room someplace.
So if you don't know, your answer is I don't know. Do you know if Megan's in the bathroom?
I do not know if the Megan's in the bathroom.
Okay. But Megan is talking to you.
That's correct.
And after you're done in the bathroom, where do you go?
Do you want the whole chain of events or do you want...
Which room of the house do you go into after you leave the bathroom?
Zoe, I go into my master bedroom, then walk through the door into the hallway and walk into Zoe's room.
And is Alec and Tyler's door open?
That I don't recall, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Why did you go to Zoe's room?
Because she said she said the kids were dead. And Zoe was my little angel. That's the first one I went to.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
the
you
first
get
one
into
you
Zoe's
laid on
room, what do
me.
you see?
There's a pillow on her head. There's a hand. And there's covers on top of her. She's laying on her mattress on the floor. The mattress is on the floor. She's laying on her mattress.
What do you do?
I went over to her. I uncovered her mouth, uncovered her face with the pillow. She had told me that she had stabbed the kids. So of course I looked for blood. I looked for anything. Looked for any sign of life. There was nothing. I turned back to her. I said, I thought you stabbed her. She says, I thought I did. I didn't know. It bounced off of her.
Okay. So after you discover Zoe, what do you do?
I went to the bathroom and picked up a washcloth. Her mouth was open. Her eyes were open. She looked uncomfortable. It's my normal demeanor to help put my kids in rest. Don't ask me why I did it.
What?
I don't,
Okay, as a
yeah.
parent, I can tell you it's never been my normal demeanor to put my kids at rest. Now, I
Yeah.
mean, I think he means comfort them.
I think that's what he means too. But like, I think he's trying to draw a distinction in his mind. Like he may be thinking of the words lay to rest, where like
Yeah.
in movies you see somebody like the mortician or
Yes.
whoever
kind
like
of
close the
closing
eyes. I think he's like trying to pull, because like even the idea, and I think he's trying to like pull things from movies, because like the whole idea of like, even while he's peeing, he gets out to the stairs and there's a figure standing at the top of the stairs with blood on her shirt. Like I think he's pulling from movie references, like because it all
Well, and
seems
he's-
very theatrical.
And he's pulling from things that didn't happen. I mean, if these things actually happened, if you came home, yes, some things are going to be very, very effing cloudy, but you would have distinct, memories that involve all your senses. I
Yeah.
touched her. She was ice cold. I shook her. I shook her so hard that, my arms started hurting. Or I smelled her. I smelled, I couldn't smell the warmth, or, things like that. You are going to
Yeah.
put those not so much in like, yeah, I saw her and, I walked and, because if it were me, if my significant other came in and said, I did all that, I did all of the children, I think I would have started with maybe my youngest, most feral, but then the minute I realized nothing could be done, I mean, running to every other room,
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
It just, he's such a terrible liar, and he didn't even read. Like, this is worse than Twilight level
Yeah.
fanfic.
Yeah, like it's too unbelievable. 'Cause like in some stupid movie I could see his reaction that he's describing. I could see that in some stupid movie, but the natural reaction is either what you just described, or after going to the first child's room, confirming that they're actually not alive anymore, that's when I would catch a case.
Yeah.
Like-
You don't continue to have like a rational conversation. Like, she was telling me about the light and, transcendental, Rastafarianism. And I was kind of like, okay, wife, I guess I'll do what you tell me to.
Yeah.
No.
I was trying to close her eyes.
Okay, so where's Megan when you're doing
Somewhere
this?
behind me. She was following me, talking to me. At one point, she was standing in the doorway, talking to me from the doorway to me, because I was asking her, I said, I thought you stabbed the kids.
Okay, so did you,
And this.
you said you had charged
Yes.
your phone the night before. Did you have your phone?
I said I plugged it in and attempted to charge. Little did I know that the charger was not a direct charger. It had to have the engine on. The battery never charged. And I also found out that phone wasn't an active phone. That was a phone that we used for things. So no, it was not charged and it was not a technical phone.
Okay. Were there other phones in the house?
There were other possessions of phones in the house, but Megan hid them and would not tell me where she hid them.
Sure. So your
it's your
crippled wife
testimony
ran
that
all over the
you could not have
house,
called anybody.
attacked all the children,
That's
and
correct.
hid your
I didn't have a
portable
phone.
phones.
And it's daylight, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
But there
Is
are
it
no
during the
windows
week?
or
Is it on the
doors.
weekend?
It's on a day that the sun was up.
Yep.
I do not know the days. The only isolation
God,
of days I've been
dude.
given.
Yes. Well, the sun was up, the calendar, according to Todt.
Yeah, like there's so many things like that I have questions about. Like, if you needed a phone, do you have neighbors? If you don't have a neighbor, do you have a house phone? Because just go to the house phone and call one of the cell phones. You would find it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many stupid things that he's saying
Or,
that like just don't
if
make
that phone
sense.
isn't a phone, it will still do Find My Phone.
Yeah, it could do the Find My Phone thing, but like there's other ways to like communicate to people. Like, it's just none of this makes sense. None of it
No.
is so aggravating.
It's from a receipt that I saw up there.
Okay, so my question is it during the week or during the weekend? So your answer is what?
A day that sun was up. That's all I know.
And
The day the sun was up. Jesus, dude.
after you
Okay, MacGyver.
finish with Zoe,
Awesome.
what do?
Megan was standing there trying to plead with me to talk. She kept bringing up the story of Thomas, the disbeliever, because she wanted me to believe what she was doing. Brushed her out of the way, and I went to Alex's room.
And who was in Alex's room?
Wait, you're thoroughly seduced by Krishna and Buddha's wife is over here like, remember the story in the Bible of doubting Thomas?
Yeah, and the quote unquote brush out of the way. No, this is where you'd be catching a DV
Hands.
case.
Yeah, this is where talking is done.
Yeah.
But sure, she was talking about Thomas. He was casually walking to the door.
Alec.
Where
Yeah.
was Tyler?
Tyler was found downstairs.
And was Tyler in the library?
Yes.
So Alec, which bed was Alex?
Alex was the one, when you walk into the room, you walk in from the door, you have a square
Generally I do,
bookcase
but
headboard
sometimes
thing.
the window.
His was the one on this wall, Tyler's was the one on that wall.
Okay.
Which is more reason why
And
I
what'd you
think he
find in
did it.
Tyler's room? Or
Alex's room?
in Alec and Tyler's room?
Yeah, Alec was on his back, pillow over his head, covers over him, and there was blood.
How much blood?
Enough that I noticed, I can't really tell you, because I pulled back the blankets, the shirt had some blood on it, and there was blood on the abdomen.
Was there blood on the blankets?
Didn't inspect it. My goal was to see if they were alive, and my goal was to see what the hell happened.
Okay.
My language.
So after you see Alec, do you go downstairs to Tyler?
No, I actually do the same thing with the washcloth. His eyes were open, and his mouth was gently slack, looked uncomfortable. Normal father thing is to relax their head and relax, and I was just providing them comfort.
Okay.
That is not a normal father thing.
No, it's not. Like, no, I don't have kids. And like, this is making me, hearing him tell this is like stirring something inside of me that makes me want to be violent towards him.
Yes.
It's-
I mean, it's the lack of emotion. Again, I could tell you, I could tell you from memory because I would be able to see a picture of where my child had blood stains when I found them not alive.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and I would not be able to get through it this way. I mean, he is such a,
but
his
there's,
voice isn't breaking anything.
yeah, there's something that, like, you had mentioned that, like, you can't picture Meg doing this, like, because, or like her being aware of what was going on because of the panic after the first hearing screams and stuff after the first panic. And so, like, as they're describing this, like, I don't know how this slipped by me, but the boys shared a room, but the eldest boy was downstairs. So he lured him downstairs first, knowing that he was to separate him from all of the others because he was going to be the problem. So he lured him downstairs somehow to take care of him first and then went to deal with the rest of them.
Yeah, that is, I mean, probably very, very right. He knew that he was going to be the one to put a problem up. And I do believe that Megan was probably out. He probably just screwed with, you know, a couple of her night meds or something like that and said, you know, here's a different vitamin I've got. And he probably could get her knocked out. He could probably take care. But yeah, that makes horrifying sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So after you do this with Alec, where do you go?
Tyler.
Okay.
I confirmed with Megan that Tyler was downstairs. Once again, brushed her aside as she's trying to convince me to see things in her light. I told her to leave me the hell alone,
Pause
and I
again
went
for a
down the
sec.
stairs.
Okay. Do you immediately?
So he confirmed with her that he was downstairs. Why would you confirm that he was downstairs if his bed is upstairs? How would he have known?
Well, and also, how would you, again, you're walking in and maybe you really did have to pee, but once you come out of the door and you look, you know, straight across the way and you see, you know, your oldest son laying on the floor, but there's a, you know, chairs knocked over and stuff, you wouldn't walk over and say, hey, what's going on? Like, I don't even care if I saw Megan at that point. I'd be like, what is going on here?
Yeah. But like, it's things like that where, like, somebody else said that he slipped up with something about how he took the blanket off of her mouth and he said it in man's face. And it's like, he's slipping. Like, he's slipping up with his story because he was the one who actually did it.
Yes. Well, because he's not smart.
Yeah.
Like go into the library?
I opened the door to go into the library, yes.
So the library door was closed.
That I found out when I went downstairs, yes.
So there's a couch in the library, right?
Yeah, among shelves and a carpet and some toys, yes.
I'm just talking about the couch. Is that couch a pull-out couch?
Yes, it is.
So when you go in there, is the couch pulled out?
He's sleeping on the bed of the pull-out couch, yes.
And what do you find with Tyler?
Tyler's on his back, hand out to the side, blankets over him,
Very
pillow
true,
over his
Veruca
face.
Salt.
And when I remove the blankets, there's blood there.
Okay. And do you do the same thing with the washcloth with Tyler?
Unfortunately, I didn't go to the bathroom
We will
to
pray for you, but chocolate zucchini bread sounds
what's it called,
awesome.
refresh it. It was just
So
on me.
you die happy.
And where's Megan?
She's at that point standing at the library door, pleading with me to talk.
At that point, did Megan have anything?
She has some kind of, we have metal glasses, cups. She had that and she was drinking something.
When this is all happening and after you finish with
She's
Tyler,
just following
where
him
do you
around
go?
with a Stanley
Megan at that point
tumbler
had gone up to the bedroom already.
as we go
And I
through
went up there
Murder
and told her
House.
she needed to get help. I don't
Yeah.
care what happened. I don't care what she did. Get help. I will take responsibility. I will do whatever it needs. Please go to the hospital. Tell me where the phones are. Because I'd asked her for the phones were initially. And she goes, I'm not telling you.
Okay. And this conversation is happening where
In the
in
master bedroom.
the master bedroom? Okay. And where is Megan at when you're having this conversation?
Fluid throughout the bedroom and the bathroom, going back and forth. At one point, I went into the bathroom because there was a Benadryl bottle on the floor. And I went into the bathroom and found a garbage bag in which I threw the Benadryl away as I'm looking for the phones.
Okay. And is Megan just kind of walking around? Is she following you? What is she doing?
At that point, she's standing at the side of the, when I left her to go throw the Benadryl bottle away and look for phones, she was standing at the side of the bed,
On which side?
on her side.
On her side of the bed. So that would be the right side, right?
If you're looking from the foot of the bed, that is correct.
Okay. And does she still have this cup in her hand?
The cup is being up to herself, back down. When I left, the cup was still in her hand,
Okay. Where did you go?
into the bathroom.
So you're in the bathroom. Are you at the vanity? Are you in the little stall where the toilet is? Are you in the closet? Where in the bathroom are you?
I'm bouncing around all place, in the closet, and around looking for the phones.
Okay, so you're looking for the phones. You're not using the bathroom.
At that point, no.
And Megan is within the master bedroom, master bathroom.
She's in the master bedroom.
She's in the master bedroom.
She's just
So
standing by
when
the
you're
bed this
standing in your
whole
master
time,
bathroom,
just
can you see
sipping
in
from
the
her
bedroom?
Stanley tumbler.
I can see partial in the bedroom,
What part of the bedroom can you see if you're in
That
the
sounds
bathroom?
like Sarah Boone.
as shown on
Yeah.
the photos, if I may reference that.
Yeah.
I could see the green chair and the, what are they called? My mom used to call it a hope chest, but we had a,
The chest at the foot of the bed?
yes.
Okay. So you can see that view from the bathroom. Is Megan within your view?
No, she's standing by her end when I left her, she's standing by the end table on her side of the bed.
Okay.
Sure.
And how long
She's
were
just
you in the
not
bathroom?
moved at all.
A few minutes.
What happens when you come out of the bathroom?
As I'm walking out of the bathroom, I hear a sound that is similar to a balloon, you know, like you rub a balloon, like a, at which point I poke my head out, you know, as we're coming out, and I see her laying on her back, stabbing herself.
Where at? Is she in the
Hollywood has
bed?
lied to me. I
She's laying
never
on her
thought that would
back,
make a
on
balloon
her side of the
sound.
bed with her head on the pillow, laying on her back, on top of sheets,
She made a plastic.
with the knife in her abdomen.
What color was the knife?
The knife was the only knife that was there, was a green buck knife that I bought for the kids as a Christmas present as part of their fishing lures.
Okay, so she has a green knife.
That's correct.
Is she right-handed or left-handed?
Green handled knife.
Green-handled knife. Is she right-handed or left-handed?
She's right-handed.
And which hand was on the knife?
Both hands were on the knife.
Both hands are on the knife.
Yes.
And you said that
But she
the
was
knife was
committing
in her
Sudoku,
abdomen
apparently.
Yes.
when you came out of the
And
bathroom.
yes, I understand
Yep.
it's seppuku, but
What'd you do?
knowing
I
Tony's
stood there in shock.
grasp of Eastern religion,
I said,
you
"What the
call
hell
it
are you doing?"
Sudoku.
And at that point, she says, I'm doing what I did to the boys. I'm trying to get my inferior vena cava. She said, I'm doing what I did to the boys. I'm trying to get my inferior vena cava.
He's even getting pissy with the court reporter.
Yes.
He
Now,
rolled his eyeballs.
that's true, you guys. he and he's claiming that his wife, and he decided the quickest way to die from bloodletting would be to get the vein that's deeply hidden within your torso, very close to your spine, not your femoral artery.
Yeah, this is the. They were going for the Anagata Vita, if I recall correctly from last week.
Yes, and mid-stab, she was like, my inferior vena cava. If not, maybe I'll, clip my aortic dissection.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I know that when I hurt myself typically, I usually will say funny things, but not oh, my inferior vena cava. I usually say stupid things, but it's not that. It would probably be more along the lines of Anagata Divina. Not like me naming what I'm trying to hit. It's just,
Yeah, he's such a deviate.
Did you go for help?
I went over to my wife and pleaded for her to tell me where the phones were. She asked me not to leave her. She did not leave the boys.
So my question is, did you go for help, yes or no?
The answer is no.
After Megan dies, how long, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, we skipped over quite a bit there. I don't know if you want to go through everything or not.
What did you do after Megan died?
What did I do? I yelled out the window to see if anybody was around to help. There was
Like
some weird
Rapunzel.
sound coming from her mouth. I thought she was breathing. I started CPR after I wiped her mouth off with that gray pillow.
Okay, so she stabs herself once or twice?
Like I said before, she stabbed herself a cumulative times of twice.
Okay. And these are right
Cumulative
after each
times
other?
of twice.
No.
Okay, so what happens?
She stabbed herself the first time. I sat there pleading with her to allow me to find the phones, to allow me to leave her to go get help. My loyalty is to my wife. She did not want to be alone. I thought if I stood there, she said she was going through the inferior vena cava. I have medical experience to know that one of those major arteries will bleed out quickly. In the area of the house, we liked the house rental because there was no one around. Neighbors weren't there. Most of the neighbors around us were snowbirds.
I think
If I
we're
left her,
alone now.
I thought she was going to die. I thought in my decision-making, the best chance was for her to tell me where the phones were. At one point, I hate to say I annoyed her. I was trying to
you
convince
annoy me
her,
a lot.
trying to
Don't
soften
hate
her
to say
language,
it.
saying obviously the universe doesn't want you to go. She says, I want to be with my kids. I need to be with my kids. So I leave.
Objection, non-responsive. What do you
Yeah,
do
you won that one.
after Megan dies?
Like I said, I yell out the front window of our bedroom for anybody. Help, 202, please. I don't know where the phones are. I hear some kind of weird breathing, some kind of weird air exchange, something. No heartbeat. They never went over that in CPR class. But you know what? I was trying anything.
I thought you were a doctorologist. Also, was the sun still out, Balky? I mean, God.
Yeah. Breathing with no heartbeat. I'm not a
Okay.
doctorologist, but that doesn't seem like a thing.
Also, I would hope as a physical therapist you had more than like basic CPR
You'd hope.
that, you did one day at the rec center a while back.
Yeah.
So I started CPR, chest compressions. And when I didn't
On the
see her
bed?
breathing, I would do mouth.
On the bed.
Apparently that's the best place for that.
Okay. Continue on,
In
Sarah.
case you
Tell
didn't
me
know.
how you did full self CPR on a bed.
compressions.
Yes.
I didn't care about the blood. I didn't care about all that.
What do you do after this?
At what point are you referencing?
What do you do the rest of the day? It's the morning. What do you do the rest of the day?
I literally broke down there and cried. Don't ask me how long, because I have no idea how long.
Was the sun still up,
I was in a state of
Sparky?
confusion. I was in a state of
Okay.
whatever.
Tony, the other part when the sun goes bye-bye and this white thing comes out, it's not the sun, it's the moon. Was the moon out? Oh my God, this man.
I couldn't help my wife pass. I felt a failure. I
Oh,
wasn't there
if
the
she had
night my kids were
unalived my
dying.
children, I
felt
sure
a
as hell
failure.
could have helped her pass.
I decided that I wanted to be with my family, that I wanted to die, that I deserved to die. I condemned myself to death. I was ashamed.
What did you do?
I sat there and cried for a while. At some point that I realized now, after seeing the receipt up there, I decided I was going to go and get a gun. At some point, as the receipt said, on 12/18, I went and purchased that first pellet gun. After I inquired of purchasing a gun.
He bought a pellet gun.
Yeah.
That's right, you guys. He's gonna die unaliving himself with a Daisy Red Ryder.
Yeah. That you can buy at your local hardware store.
Yes.
Or recycling.
Jesus.
And she's
To
going
find out
she's
that
going to
there's a
ask a
3-day
great
rule in
question.
Florida.
Because there's a 3-day rule for a handgun.
Not to mention the feds who you're on the run from might get wind that you're trying to buy a pew-pew.
Correct. That's
I've
correct.
never purchased a gun before. I purchased that gun, which was a pellet gun, that I was planning to give my kids, my boys, a Christmas present with. I
What
left
kind
and
of
came
gun?
back.
What kind of gun were you trying to buy?
Any gun they would sell me.
Did you try and buy a shotgun?
No, I tried to buy, I was trying to buy handguns. I inquired with them. I didn't inquire on a specific model. I said, I've never bought a gun before. How do I go about buying a gun?
Are you aware that the wait period doesn't apply to a shotgun?
Ma'am, I've never bought a gun before.
Well, you inquired about buying a gun, right?
Yeah, and usually they'd ask, well, do you want to... Yeah, you know, he's like, ma'am. Now, I don't ask you about your ladiness, and you don't ask me about an expert thing like, you know, French fries that I'm really good at eating. And we'll just all stay in our lanes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I can confirm if you walk in and you inquire about purchasing a pew-pew, they're going to say, what are you looking for? A handgun? A rifle? A shotgun? The first thing they're not going to ask is like, would you like a pellet gun?
Like, baby.
Yeah, it's like, that's not the first thing they're going to ask.
Yeah, or they might say airsoft, but, you know, probably not.
Yeah.
I inquired about buying a gun.
So, this trip to Academy happened after everybody in your family was dead.
That's correct.
So on 12/18, the day of that receipt, everybody in your family was dead.
That's correct.
And was everybody in your family alive for the awards banquet on December 14th of 2019?
That was a Saturday, correct?
It was the day of the awards, the day that Alec and Tyler got awards.
Yes, they were both attendants. They played the recital.
Okay. So, how soon after their deaths did you go to Academy?
I know
Well,
it
if
is,
that was the
but
14th,
I call him Toad.
I went the 18th, so that was 4 days later.
So,
Or
when
Turd,
did they, how
depending.
soon after they died did you go to Academy?
I don't know timeline. I know sun was up, and I went over. Could it have been the same day? Most likely.
Okay. So,
His timeline skills are just
do you go
impeccable.
anywhere else besides Academy?
On that day,
Between December 18th that day and January 13th, where did you go?
I went to CVS for Benadryl,
How many times?
I think twice. And I also went to Walgreens for Benadryl for that wall dry.
How many times?
Well, considering wall dry was disgusting, only once.
Well, gosh,
That I
they
remember.
didn't have the
Did you go anywhere
right
else?
vintage.
I picked up food, a galumki, one night at Publix.
What?
Anywhere else?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, Starbucks.
Not that I recall.
Did you go to Sarasota?
No. There was no way I could drive to Sarasota.
Did you leave your phone at a Starbucks in Sarasota?
If I didn't go to Sarasota, I didn't leave my phone.
So you're denying that you went to Starbucks? In Sarasota?
In Sarasota, that's correct.
And so you never went to the beach in Sarasota?
Nope, it was over 2 hours away. There was no way I could drive.
And you did see the interview that was played yesterday, right?
Correct, I did see the interview.
And
Wait, did he just say he
When you
can't
did
drive to
speak with the
Sarasota
detective
because
more
it's
than
2
one
hours
time, right?
away?
Well, in between like his Benadryl, comas, apparently.
That.
But the problem is that his phone was in fact found at the Sarasota, I think, Starbucks, and I'm pretty sure that they had some evidence of, him being in Sarasota.
Yeah, because they're asking him very specific questions about the Starbucks. Were you at a beach? Probably
Yeah, I
somebody
think
saw him
they
at a
had-
beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they tell me.
you're denying this knowledge?
Ma'am, I don't even remember talking to the interview that day.
So you don't remember talking to the detective on January 15th of 2020?
Last thing I remember was falling down the stairs and saying, "You hold on to somebody in custody, deputy." Next thing I knew, I woke up in jail. I thought I was in purgatory with the red floor and the bright sky.
Okay, so, you discussed a lot of information, wouldn't you agree, in the January 15th, 2020 interview?
From what I saw, yes, and from what I read, yes.
And
He's
you
like,
adequately discussed Megan's health
flippin'
conditions
awesome
that
when
you
I'm
were
high,
aware
you
of,
guys.
correct?
Correct, the ones that she suffered for the previous 8 years with, yes.
And you also spoke about various trips to Academy.
That's what I said, yes.
And you went to Academy at some point as well to purchase a longer knife?
That's correct.
And isn't it true that you also said in the interview, you spoke about the note that was left?
That's correct.
And you told law enforcement that you printed it after Megan's death.
Correct.
And you testified here today that that wasn't true.
That's correct.
And that wasn't the first time you told that to law enforcement, was it?
Well, actually, let me correct the facts on that case, please, if you may.
Oh, let's run the
The
record
initial
back
note?
for the record.
Was the one I didn't print out. The note I found in my pocket after, which is the note Meg printed out, that I found in my pocket after I urinated myself in the garage after one hallucination and drank what I thought was coffee, but I'm pretty sure it was motor oil. I went into the house,
Pretty
stripping,
much
and found the
3
note in my
weeks
pocket.
in
Which note?
Florida.
The note Megan had left.
What was on that note?
On that note was essentially, I didn't read this note, but from what I recall, it said we did it to the family, which she referred to as family lineage. I had a different relationship, a different definition of family. And the other thing was where she wanted her ashes. At the bottom of that note, it said, "Tony, I love you forever. Please forgive me."
What'd you do
God,
with
he's
it?
pulling
Sure.
from
What I
movies.
do with that? I took it out of my urine-soaked pants and retyped it because I wanted my residual family, or my leftover, the family that was alive, to keep the knowledge that we were a family unit, and I wanted my wife to know, I want my wife's wishes known where she wanted the ashes buried. She wanted to be buried with her father, where we released the ashes
Sure.
at Harkness.
Was
Sure, and
Megan's
when he
note
retyped
handwritten
it,
or
he
typed?
put
typed.
extra like "Forgive me,
And-
Tony's." And
Yeah.
Did you ultimately throw it away?
I ultimately put it in there was a fan box in the kitchen. After I typed it, and I typed a second one that was, when I retyped it, There was some errors in it, so I put the urine-soaked one and the one with errands in it in that fan box. After I fixed the door with my father-in-law who died in 2002.
So,
I,
was
Yeah.
this the same day that you came home?
No.
That this note was, when did you find this note?
When did I find the note in my pocket?
Yes.
After I woke up after one of my suicide attempts of Benadryl that I ended up in the garage. I can't tell you, sometime after Christmas.
Was this
Was the big brown,
note in a pair of pants, a
Fiery
shirt,
thing in the
It was in my black
sky?
shorts.
in your shorts?
Yeah, the one of two pair that only fit me.
So you only had 2 pairs of shorts that fit you?
I had 2 pair of black shorts and a pair of khaki shorts.
And
That's a
how
low
often
jab.
did you wear these shorts?
When I went back I had a pair of Umbro shorts too. But those are the 2 dress shorts I had.
So how
Umbro.
often did you wear them?
Daily.
90s kids rejoice.
And you never
Thought he was gonna say
discovered this note in
Adidas.
your pocket before?
Ma'am, I can't tell you I changed. You saw the condition of my hair, you saw the condition of my face. I can't tell you what I did. I was on autopilot.
Okay. So you actually, the note that was left on the green chair is something that you actually authored.
I actually edited it, that's correct.
She has run-on
And you
sentences,
printed it
Megan
out?
did.
That's correct.
And you left it on the green chair.
Actually, I gave it to my mother who was sitting in the green chair for her to read.
Your mother was there?
Oh, my mother was there, my father-in-law that died in 2002, my aunt that died in 2013.
When I'm talking about being so high I'm hallucinating dead relatives, I'm generally in full dickies myself. I have a full-on sarcastic ass,
And it's always in Umbro pants and Crocs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not always a dick, but when I am, I'm talking about dead relatives I can see only because I was high on peyote.
But okay, he said something. I'm almost 100% he's pulling all of this stuff from movies, because he said something that Vin Diesel said in the Fast and the Furious, and that's, "We did it for family."
Oh my God, true.
I'm telling you, he's pulling all this crap from movies.
Oh God, he is such an unrelenting asshole.
He is. The more he talks, the more I'm like picking out all these movie references.
The more I am just like, dear God, I didn't think that Sarah could have been beat, and how did I not remember how insufferable he was?
Oh, yes, the whole "I see dead people."
Sure. Oh, that is the whole.
Quite a few people were there.
Okay. So
He doesn't give him anything. She's like, all right, whatever.
in your interviews, you describe in detail how you take the lives of each one of your children, correct?
That's what the video showed, yes.
And you indicated in the video that you began with Zoe, correct?
That's correct.
And that you went in, this was after you and Megan had an agreement and you spoke about various websites and all of this research that you did, and you're sitting here today saying that that's not the case.
That is not the case. Megan told me the order she killed the kids.
Okay.
Megan did research, would send things over. Did I research? Yes, I researched for years on my wife's illness. Okay? Now, as you're aware of through your experience, people believe they're Hitler.
Did
Is
you
that how you've been
conduct
method acting,
any
sir?
research that
How's
you
that fit?
told detectives?
I don't understand, Mo. Help me.
I mean, it does explain his wild gesticulating and his, insufferable, actually his facial movements too. Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God,
true.
someone sent him over the wrong, film footage to work on his acting. He was like, yeah, but I'm never sure I've ever said "conf" before. I'll just ad lib.
Yeah, that's. Oh dear.
Of all the non sequiturs.
I didn't understand.
To sequitur.
It doesn't seem to fit.
And look at him sitting back like, I have proved my motherfucking point. Bam. Mic
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah. It's yeah, like I don't understand this. Like I really don't understand how it fits in. Like I just don't. Like
No one but Tony is, that is the most smug face. Like, he's like, beat that bitch. Beat it.
yeah. It's
And
like
she's over here like, the fuck just happened over here?
yeah, she's probably like looking down at her paper going, I don't even know. She's thinking like the principal in the
In
Billy Madison
Billy
movie.
Madison.
She's like,
Yes.
it's the stupidest, pointless thing anybody has ever said. God have mercy on your soul for making all the rest of us dumber.
Yes. Oh my gosh. None of it makes any sense.
Yeah.
That you conducted.
On which subject, ma'am?
Did you go to Quora.com?
Yeah, that was a normal website I went to.
And did
That
you
explains so much,
Google
Tony.
different knife techniques?
Yes, because I had under my suspicion that the fact, well, I found the website on Megan's phone after I initially found that, after I found the phones. And I also looked up other ways to kill myself.
And my question now is, did you watch numerous videos about going to the afterlife?
I watched numerous videos with my wife about alien and her alien, what's it called? I don't want to call it an infatuation, but she believed in UFOs, aliens. Those are the videos. I've never seen a video about her afterlife. I've only,
So everything that you told the detectives, the multiple times that you spoke to them, is not true.
number one, don't
Yes or
remember-
no? What you told detectives about you conducting the
Get him.
research with Megan and watching all of these videos on the afterlife is not true, yes or no?
I did not watch videos on the afterlife.
And is it true that the multiple times that you spoke to detectives, that you told detectives that you went into Zoe's room, you gathered the courage, and you rolled over on top of your daughter until she suffocated? Isn't
Yeah.
that what you told law enforcement?
Is this a yes or no question, or do you want the answer?
Yes or no question?
That is what the video, yes, showed me.
And your testimony here today is that Megan did it.
Megan killed Zoe.
And you told the detectives multiple times that after Zoe, you went to Alec's room, and Alec was your oldest son, correct?
That's correct.
And Alec was 13 years old, and he
I
was
don't
the
think they
strongest,
needed a break.
right?
I'll
That
have
is
to look
incorrect,
that up
ma'am.
because I'm not
Who's
sure.
the strongest?
Tyler is downstairs.
Okay, so you go to Alec's room next because Alec's upstairs,
That's correct.
right? And you told law enforcement on multiple occasions that you went into Alec's room and you stabbed Alec and you suffocated Alec. Isn't that correct?
That's partially correct.
And isn't it true that you initially told law enforcement multiple times that Megan was in there during that killing?
That's what the video showed, yes.
And isn't it true that you also told law enforcement
like,
that
"That's what
Megan
Bad
took part
Tony said."
in the killing?
That's what the video showed, that's correct.
And that in fact, Megan held Alec's legs down while you suffocated Alec?
That's what the video showed, that's correct.
And your testimony today is that that is not true?
My testimony today is the fact that Megan killed her kids and killed herself.
Okay, so next,
Her kids, not our kids. Really interesting Freudian slip there.
Yeah. And it looks like for time, so it looks like they got, I don't know when they got the actual verdict, like, or when they started deliberating, but it says that at some point in time on Thursday, the jury announced that it was deadlocked on some of the accounts. But it looks like the verdict came in at just before 7 the same day. but it doesn't say when it started. So I don't know how long it actually took, but apparently
I
there was
wonder
some
what they
debate.
were deadlocked on.
I don't know. Like,
Maybe Megan's involvement, because I mean, they don't know Megan like those of us who have kind of researched the case further, or, and by that I mean watch like other people's videos where they researched further.
yeah.
So you don't have like kind of the backstory of who Megan was.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that maybe they didn't think that, Megan, or he had the full, capacity in it. Maybe they were thinking, okay, well, maybe he worked in concert for the kids, and do we really care that Megan passed at that point? Maybe someone bought that Megan did this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. If you were to look at, like, just on an evidentiary basis, like, there's technically not evidence that proves that he did it. Like,
Yeah.
there's no video of him doing it. There's no, like, evidence that he did. So a lot of it is circumstantial, even though the circumstantial stuff adds up to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody was being a stickler on that, and maybe that's why they were deadlocked, because like they haven't actually shown that he did it. Like maybe
They
that's
could
what they were
possibly be
stuck.
playing that too, because they're
But I don't
maybe
know how.
someone was a schmidiot. I mean,
Yeah. But it's, I mean, I could see somebody getting stuck on something like that, but as a reasonable thinking person, as they would say, a reasonable juror, I don't know how you could get deadlocked on this. This seems pretty shut and closed to
Yeah.
me.
You told law enforcement that you
And it
went
was
to
Florida.
Tyler's room.
No.
Well,
I
actually,
went to
not
the library.
Tyler's room. You went to the library,
That's correct.
right? And
Yeah,
that
no, fight about
you
where you killed your kids, sir.
had to be
Great
fast
job.
when you killed Tyler, correct?
Most definitely. He was the fastest and strongest kid.
So he's the fastest
Okay.
and strongest kid, and
So you're telling me that he expects people to believe that his 90-pound chronically ill wife went all Mortal Kombat final fatality on their son? Sure. Okay.
After luring him downstairs
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, totally makes sense, Tony. You got it.
Yeah.
I'm totally.
you told law enforcement that you were afraid he was gonna get away, right?
That's what Meg told me, yes.
That's not my question. You told law enforcement
Oh, yeah, on
multiple
the video.
times that Tyler was fast and he was.
You saw the video, and you saw the video also of saying I said things that have been proven incorrect.
That's not responsive to my question.
Actually, it is. But
Yes
go ahead.
or no?
You didn't say yes or no, ma'am. I
Yes
apologize.
or no?
Thank you.
Did you tell law enforcement that you had to kill Tyler quickly because he was the fastest?
That's what I told you, law enforcement. That is correct.
And you also told law enforcement, yes or no, that Megan had to stand on the other side of the door just in case.
That's what the video showed.
And after you were done with Tyler, you and Megan go upstairs, or you meet Megan in the master bedroom, and you console yourselves, right? Yes or no?
That's what the video showed.
And you actually told this to law enforcement multiple times. It's not just what the video told, correct?
Well, yes. Also, when he was supposedly high as balls, during the videotaped confession that we saw, he was very methodical and very pedantic about the way he did things. So he was not high. He was not confused. He did not see the Easter Bunny, Joan Rivers, and, Floyd from 2 years behind him.
And like to the point where he said the color of each knife.
Yeah.
Like he knew the handle color of each knife. Like he gave so many minute details in his interrogation video that it's like you clearly remembered something
Yeah.
that happened because you're giving minute details that they found all of the knives. So like he knew something.
Yes.
Ma'am, video, that's what I said. I don't remember anything after I left the house till I got to jail. So I'm refuting, I'm going on your premise that that video is correct.
Okay. Well, that is you in the video, right?
It's a sickly version of me, yes. It's an
And-
emotionally disturbed video of me, yes.
And that's you talking, right?
That is me talking, that's correct.
Okay.
Thank God I
So-
didn't tell you I assassinated
There's no
Kennedy.
question. So, after that,
Wow.
you...
Wow, I love how he looked to the jury like,
Did
but
you like that?
ching.
Yeah, he's like, did you like that one? I assassinated Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, you're assassinating your, innocent
Yeah.
verdict.
It's just like, God.
Tell law enforcement, yes or no, that you and Megan get Breezy, the dog, to come up onto the bed, correct?
That's what the video showed.
And that at that point in time, you suffocated Breezy and took Breezy's life.
That's what the video showed. The truth of the matter is, the only thing I saw,
There's no question.
you didn't answer yes or no, so I said no.
So, yes or no, it was after this that you told law enforcement that Megan just...
I have never felt more like Will Smith in my entire life. I must smack this man. Like the will of the entire chat, all of humanity, and everyone who's ever met this douche canoe. It's like the
Yes.
power of She-Ra.
Yes, like this is one of the few moments in time where I am like rooting for the prosecutor going, get him, please get him. And I love how she's like throwing his sass like right back at him, like she's just not taking it.
Yes.
I love it.
decided that she had to go next, and she stabbed herself, right?
I don't know the rules to this question, ma'am. Can you repeat it, please?
Sure. Yes or no? The next thing that you told law
We got that tone, did we not? Okay. Okay, special little dum-dum.
Yeah.
Gonna make this all nice and sweet for you.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah. Which is funny because she did say yes or no at the beginning of the question.
Yeah, well, he was too busy being insufferably assholish to hear her.
Yeah, exactly. The voices in his head were talking way too loud, going, "Good job, bruh.
Yeah.
You got her with that
that
one."
was pretty fucking funny, dude.
Yeah. Exactly.
enforcement happened was that Megan needed to kill herself, and she stabbed herself, right?
By what the video showed? Yes.
And you
Yes.
were present or at home when Megan stabbed herself 2 times.
Correct.
And that you tried to, you actually testified in the video and you told law enforcement that you tried to help Megan bleed out more quickly by doing these different physical therapy techniques.
I didn't see that in the video, ma'am.
So you didn't tell law enforcement that?
Ma'am, you're asking me on the video what
I
I
said,
told.
did you tell law enforcement?
Which point?
At any point, did you tell law enforcement that you tried to help Megan bleed
And the answer is
quickly
yes.
so
Yes, he
that
did.
she
He
would
was trying to
die
do
by doing
myofascial
your
release
physical
of her
therapy
liver.
techniques?
Can I tell you what I told law enforcement by the transcripts that have been provided for me?
What'd you tell law enforcement?
I told them I provided myofascial release to help facilitate blood flow. It's a technique that you do not do. It's a technique that I did over her liver to help her with digestive issues. You do not do myofascial release to help blood flow. It doesn't help blood flow.
Okay.
Well, bitchy make big
Isn't it
face.
true that you told law enforcement that at some point you took a pillow and put it over Megan's head until she suffocated?
That's what the video showed, yes.
A dab, dab, dab. A dab, dab.
No, he's blowing his nose. just, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, at this point, they were deadlocked? How the hell were they deadlocked? How the hell were you deadlocked? I need all of the jury to come over here and explain to the front of the congregation how they were deadlocked.
We need like the YSL jurors to come out and talk.
Well, Shalom, was the big Bernie sun thing out, or was it dark? Because I don't know if doctorology works the same when that thing is out or not.
When was Tyler's birthday?
12/30/2008.
And he would have been 11.
Yes.
And based upon your testimony and the statements that you made to law enforcement, he was dead before his birthday, right?
Before Christmas, that's correct.
And did Tyler get like birthday cards or anything from family?
Sure.
You
They're
don't-
very good at that.
You don't remember?
There's a lot I don't remember, ma'am.
Do you remember cashing a check that was for Tyler's birthday? And I have no further question.
Thank you. Be direct.
Oh dear.
Okay, I can't deal with any more of this man. I can't.
That was rough, yeah. Like
Not without building a killdozer, and then I'd first need to teach myself how to weld. But a gal's got a dream and learn how to weld.
I mean, if Tony can be a Dr. Mo, you can be a welder.
You are right. If only I can achieve as much as Tony believes he achieves.
Exactly. He's so insufferable.
I think it's about 4 years old, Nanya.
Yeah. It was, I think, I don't remember when the trial was actually. Because the incident happened in 2020. So he unalived them at the end of 2020 because it was.
Oh, right, because it was the
COVID.
start of the coup.
Yeah, well, it was
Okay,
the.
then
Yeah, it was like the kind of
maybe
the
it
middle.
was 2 years ago?
I think the trial took like a year or two after 2020 because of, the courts being backed up and all that
Sure.
stuff. So I think it took a couple years. So like, I don't think it's that old. But
No, we really don't have any more. Look, Cheech and Chong don't have an adequate amount of pot, not pong,
yeah,
pot. But thank you everyone for hanging through this one. I'm glad we finally got through a video in one episode. It just
Dad said to
yeah. We usually go off on tangents, but this one was one of them. I think we had to like just kind of press through because it's just a lot. It would be wrong to break this one up, I think. But yeah. But it sounds like everybody else agrees with us because like this is just a dumpster fire.
I just had to explain to my oldest boy child. He's like, Dad said something about getting the nose hole spray. And I was like, yes, the nasal spray. It's right here. Here you go. And he's like, where the hell are you supposed to put that? And I was like, in your nose because it's nasal. He's like, I've never heard this in my entire. God bless it.
If oh. Yeah. Oh, April
On that
April
note,
11, 2022 is when it started.
I am going to hop off of here and make sure that he doesn't put nasal spray anywhere not nasal.
Because nasal does rhyme with something else.
Oh my God. Myofacial. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate it so much. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.